Yes, sir, ABC, let's go. It's gonna be a nice physical game, baby. Yes, sir.
We are always ready to go. Will the Golden Gophers be ready to go against the Ohio State Buckeyes in the Big Ten, where we have 4 teams, including Ohio State, with 1 loss, and we have 3 teams, including Minnesota, with 2 losses. By the way, Minnesota's already beaten Michigan this year. 1940, the last time they beat Ohio State and Michigan in the same year. John Saunders, Craig James, and Aaron Taylor, as we get you ready for this in just a crazy, crazy Big Ten.
Well, you talked about Maroney. You heard him right there. He was saying how he's ready for a big physical football game. The Ohio State linebackers have to show up. If they come to play today, then Ohio State wins. It's simple as that, man. This is going to be a very physical football game. Maroney's going to run the ball. It's between tackles. He can bounce outside. But the linebackers at Ohio State, that's the heart and soul of that team. When we sat there and we watched them play Vince Young, and we watched them against the Longhorns there in Columbus earlier this year, we saw a linebacker group that got after their Fanny. Now, where have they been? This is a game to show up.
And, guys, you have to remember with Minnesota, the last time they played a defense that had physical linebackers that could run around, which was against Penn State, that Minnesota running game was non-existent. So the Minnesota Gophers are going to have their hands full today, and Greg Essinger and that big offensive line that Minnesota has is going to have a big test.
The Big Ten, as we said, is just a complete mess right now, and it's hard to figure out. A lot of people ask me, are they just really good,
I think they're
or are
pretty good.
they really average? I think that there's a lot of good teams there. Now, in the BCS standings, a little controversy this week is Texas leapfrog USC. That's the closest 2 teams have been at the top since they started this thing, and for people looking at Virginia Tech, Georgia, Alabama, and UCLA, they're not going to have a chance to pass them.
All we need to know is this. It's very simple. Somebody's going to get messed around in this whole equation, right? And Virginia Tech or anybody else who's unbeaten will be messed around. It's going to be Texas because all of the voters love Texas. It's going to be USC. They're defending champions. Unless they lose, it will be Texas versus USC.
And the only way Virginia Tech guys can jump Texas is if they win out, win the ACC championship game big. Texas starts to play bad enough down the stretch where the human voters knock them down the polls. That's the only way they can win it, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I don't see that happening either. Human voters love Texas USC. As a matter of fact, I think that's what everybody wants to see. But what you're going to see coming up next is the Ohio State Buckeyes and Minnesota Golden Gophers each trying for a Big Ten championship.
The Metrodome in Minneapolis, Minnesota. A bubble of noise and anticipation as today ABC Sports brings you our BCS Spotlight game presented by ADT. And it's the Ohio State Buckeyes, ranked 13th in the country, that invade Minneapolis against the 20th ranked Golden Gophers of Minnesota. Games today in the Big Ten, Wisconsin and Illinois just getting underway. Likewise, Indiana and Michigan State. Purdue and Penn State have a date on ABC later. Northwestern and Michigan will get together tonight on ESPN. As you take a look at the standings, a vital game for a lot of teams today. Penn State and Wisconsin tied at the top at 7-1. But of course, Ohio State right there at 5-2. They'd like to move up the ladder. So would Minnesota to try to stay in the hunt. Right now, it's anybody's race in the Big Ten. Here come the Golden Gophers of Minnesota. They've got this city pretty excited. Welcome, everybody. I'm Brad Nessler. As always, my partner is Bob Greasy. When Ohio State started this season, a lot of people thought not only would they win the Big Ten, but maybe they'd have a chance at the national championship. 2 setbacks now to good teams, Penn State and Texas, and now they have to focus on the Big Ten race. For Minnesota, they're coming off a heartbreaking loss 2 weeks ago to Wisconsin, or they'd have only 1 loss right now in the conference. And they're probably as good at this stage in the season as they've been, Bob, in decades. Today, it's 2 of the groups that are the best at what they do that are set to collide Minneapolis.
Whenever you have the best of the best, that's very special. The best rushing offense against the best rushing defense. And not only units against units, but individuals against individuals. Lawrence Maroney and Greg Esslinger, the offensive center, going against A.J. Hawk. Not only does Minnesota have a great offense, but they're right up there in many of the different categories in the nation.
And you already mentioned A.J. Hawk, but maybe the best trio of linebackers in college football leading that Ohio State defense.
Well, if I'm a linebacker, this is the type of game I want to play in. A.J. Hawk, Bobby Carpenter, those guys on that they're not going out of the ball game today. No nickel backs, no defensive backs are coming in. The linebackers are playing this ball game today.
Ohio State says we've got 7 guys that can stop the run. Minnesota says we don't care if it's 3rd and 7, we're still going to run. They haven't beaten Ohio State since the last game at Old Memorial Stadium. They try to do it here at the Metrodome today. Big Ten football. 1 week, you're on top of the world. The next week, your world crashes in on top of you. That's the reality of the 2005 Big Ten season. The title's up for grabs, and two of the conference best are here to shake things out. The Golden Gophers of Minnesota boast one of the nation's most dominant rushing attacks. Can the Buckeyes' star-studded defense slow them down? It's a good old-fashioned Big Ten battle. We'll talk to Swanee and kick it off next. Jim Tressel in his 5th year at Ohio State with a national championship 3 years ago. That's the last time Ohio State played Minnesota. And Glenn Mason in his 9th year as the head coach of the Golden Gophers, and he's done a remarkable job with this program here in Minneapolis. Minnesota won the toss and deferred. Janetti will kick. Gonzalez will take it at about the 9. The number 3 wide receiver running into some trouble, and Minnesota will drop him prior to the 20-yard line. Let's check in with Lynn.
Well, Brad, my definition of an athlete in football is a guy who can play many positions well, and that is Troy Smith. He's the quarterback for Ohio State, but he's thrown for 7 touchdowns. He's run for 8 touchdowns. When he drops back to throw the football, if all of his receivers are covered, maybe you think you've done the job. But suddenly he takes off and he runs like a running back. And this Minnesota Golden Gophers defense has had some problems trying to handle an athletic quarterback.
Well, they did that. Michael Robinson in Penn State gave him fits. Smith will set up the Buckeye offense at the 20-yard line. Troy's going to throw on first down. Wants it all. Going long for Ginn. He's out there, and it's deflected at the last moment by Tremaine Banks, or it would have been a touchdown.
He had him beat. He just needed to throw it about 5 yards further.
Banks, nice recovery. Ginn had to wait on it a little bit. As Bob said, it was slightly underthrown.
Well, this tells you the mindset of the Ohio State Buckeyes. Come out, throw the ball deep. They need to make some big plays, and Ginn can give them that.
Even with that being a little bit underthrown, number 4 made a heck of a play to get a hand on it, or it still would have been a touchdown. 3 wide out grouping now for Smith on second down and 10. There's a handoff to Pittman, and Pittman goes for 4, almost 5. Troy Smith, Swanee talked about him, a junior out of Cleveland, Ohio. Started the last 7 games last year, and here's the numbers. 58% completion, 7 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. More importantly, 8 touchdowns on the ground. So he's a dual threat, and Minnesota knows it.
He's really a triple threat. He can run, he can throw, and if anything else fails, he can run the option. So you've got to factor that into your defense as well.
Third down and a long 5 for Ohio State on their opening drive of the ballgame. 4 wideouts for Smith. Fires it down the middle, complete, first down across the 35 to the 36 to Anthony Gonzalez. Let's take a look at our Outback Steakhouse starting lineups. Here's the big eaters up front in front of Smith and company. Dadish, Sims, who played so well at tackle for years, now a guard. Mangold, one of the best centers in the country. Downing and Boone, the young guy in there with Barton out to an injury. Pittman's a tailback. Stan White will play fullback today because Schnitger is out with an injury as well. Brandon Smith at tight end. Ginn and Holmes are 2 dangerous guys, and there's Ted Ginn, who already went deep once today. Pittman got about 3. John Shevlin, the linebacker, submarined him to make the stop for the Minnesota defense. And that defense for the Golden Gophers, up front, the young fella Davis, who played so well against Michigan, the true freshman, Lossley, Montgomery, the captain, and Lipka, the other defensive end. The linebackers, Shevlin and McKenzie. Mario Reese really coming out on the outside spot. And in the secondary, you've seen Banks make a nice play already. Jones, the young guy's in there at strong safety. Pavelski's the leader. He's the captain. And Jamal Harris has done a nice job on the other corner. Pavelski, a great story from a little town in Wisconsin, a former walk-on, and now he's the man. And you can see him leading the defense back there. Throw is complete, and boy, what a catch by Holmes. He slipped on his break and almost fell down. He still found the handle.
It's a nice pitch and catch. Probably the catch was better than the pitch. Jim Tressel coming out, throwing the ball right out of the chute, and he needs to get the ball to the wide guys. Holmes and Ginn are his 2 playmakers.
Look at that grab. Caught the back end of the ball, and it's a first down at the 47-yard line. So Ohio State's moved it out 27 yards here in the opening couple of minutes. Ginn in motion, fake the handoff to him. Pittman, option pass maybe. He'll keep it, and he got the corner. And really leveled out of bounds by Pavelski as he, in the front of the Gopher bench, got another first down at the 40-yard line. Pickup of 12. Check the game plan, Bob.
Well, for Ohio State, the offense just don't lose it. You got a great defense. Your special teams are good. Get the ball to your wide receivers. And Minnesota defensively, they need some takeaways. Ohio State has lost 11 fumbles in 7 games. That's 110th worst in the nation. They do put the ball on the ground.
It's amazing that they're 5-2 with those stats. 7th play of the Buckeye drive. Smith, plenty of time to throw. Deep out's got his man. It's Holmes, and the defender falls down, and Holmes will walk in. Touchdown, Ohio State. 41-yard touchdown, helped in part by Jamal Harris falling down on the corner.
Well, we were just talking about getting the ball to the wide receivers, and they can make some plays for you. Tressel, who calls the plays, came out, and he's been throwing the ball to those wide guys, single coverage on the corners. That time he got all of it.
That just looks too easy. Josh Houston will come in for the point after. Extra point is up and good. 12 minutes and 42 seconds remaining first quarter. Opening drive of the ball game, and it's all Buckeyes as Holmes takes it in for the touchdown. There's the man of the moment in Columbus anyway, Santonio Holmes. Everybody talks about Ted Ginn and all the speed, but Swanee, I tell you what, Santonio Holmes, the guy knows how to get it done.
Well, right here, you look at the route he runs. He just works a defensive back. Excellent technique. And that's what he has over the other receivers on this team. He and Gonzalez just run very good technical routes.
Give some credit, too, to the offensive line and the throw. You know, that's a deeper route, Swanee, and so it takes more time to come in, break to the post, and then break back out to the corner. The offensive line did a nice job, and the quarterback also.
Houston with a kick. Jakari Wallace has just got to let it go. And Minnesota will work from its own 20-yard line. So that puts this guy on the hot seat, Brian Cupido, who we saw shaken up, rattled with ice bags on both shoulders against Michigan a few weeks ago. Back and relatively healthy, if you want to put it that way. There's Brian's numbers on the season. He's an Ohio native out of Cincinnati. Minnesota has 16 Ohio players on this roster, 4 of them starters from Columbus, so you know there's a little extra incentive for a lot of those kids. Some of them not recruited at all by Ohio State, but this guy, Glenn Mason, a former Ohio State player and assistant. At the 20. 2 tight ends set for the Gophers. Lawrence Maroney waiting for his blocks, but a nice job by Ashton Yabodi to bring him down, and they get up jawing at each other right away on the first play of the ball game. Outback Steakhouse starting lineups. The big fellas from Minnesota. This is a heck of a good offensive line. Scheidel, Setterstrom is an All-American candidate. Esslinger might win the Remington Award or the Outland. Nicholson and Brinkhouse round out the front 5. Maroney behind Valentine, the fullback. Space, a big target at tight end and a good blocker. Payne and Wheelwright, the wide receivers. You'll see a lot of Ellerson as well. He's in there right now. Maroney, the top rusher in the Big Ten. They fake the toss to him. Cupido fires deep out. He's got his man, and it is Jared Ellerson, one of his favorite targets. Out of bounds and a first down, a pickup of 13.
I like that. They've got to do some of that because Ohio State is just focused on the run. Anything you do, anytime you move first or second down to show run, they're going to jump on. You're going to have a lot of single coverage on the outside.
They did a little bit of this early against Michigan, and it helped to loosen the Wolverine defense just a bit. First down at the 34-yard line. Payne, the motion man. Here's the toss. Maroney waits for Esslinger to get out in front. Now he takes the wide side, and he's blasted out of bounds. He and Yabodi are going to be friends or enemies by the time it's over, I guess. The Buckeyes defensively. The group up front is a good front 4. Patterson and Green, Pitcock and Kudla. The strength of the whole team is right here. Carpenter, Schlegel, and Hawk. And in the secondary, Yabodi, you've seen a couple of tackles from him already. Whitner, Sally, Malcolm Jenkins, the young guy. If Minnesota's going to pick on somebody in the secondary, it'd be him. There's A.J. Hawk, one of the top linebackers, one of the top defensive players in all of college football. Cupido quick throw. Short of the first down by about a yard, but he got it to little Jakari Wallace, and it's going to bring up a 3rd down and short.
Well, Minnesota offensively, they just want to have patience. Sometimes your running game is not going to work, but it'll be there eventually, and then some big plays. Ohio State defensively control the line of scrimmage, knock the offensive line back. The front 7 is as good as they are in college football.
They put Russell in. They've got both running backs in, and flags all over the place. Might have been Russell that was moving.
Prior to the snap, false start, 64 offense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Scheidel, the left tackle, got a little bit of a head start, and that changes the play here quite a bit from 3rd and 1 to 3rd and 6, a long 6 at that.
Boy, you can't imagine how different an animal 3rd and 6 is versus 3rd and 1. The choices of calls, play calls, just went out the window.
As you can see, Russell went out. Maroney stays in. Ellerson in motion. Cupido's looking his way, and he's going to fade it for him. There's nobody home. Ellerson's got it down the sideline. All the way down inside the 20-yard line.
Was that a great call?
Dante Whitner saved a touchdown. 46-yard pass play.
Mitch Browning, the offensive coordinator, goes from 3rd and 1 to 3rd and 6. He runs a little, watch the receiver here. He's just going to run a little stop and go, a little out and up. That's Jaboti right there jumping on the outside move. Just a wonderful call and great execution.
Minnesota in the red zone now. Spaeth switches sides, the tight end. First down, Golden Gophers, the Ohio State 16. Stretch play, Maroney waits for his blockers. Got a yard, maybe 2. Bobby Carpenter made the stop, number 42. Maroney, what a colorful character. Haven't spent some time with him yesterday. Came into our meeting wearing these giant sunglasses, and then he had a big smile on his face and said, I'm just kidding you guys.
Then he said, hey, I recognize your voice.
Yeah, you're the video game guy. Yeah, right. They forget we do a game every week, I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
Russell comes in to take Maroney's spot at the 15-yard line. 2nd down and 9. Payne in motion. Here comes a blitz. Russell banged in the middle there, and he's going to go down for no gain. Let's check in with Lynn.
Well, guys, Brian Cupido got hurt against Michigan, didn't play against Wisconsin, and he started this game with a special brace to protect his chest. And we got a shot of that brace, and there it is right there. Now, it's on his left shoulder. It should not affect his throwing motion. But I was talking to him during pregame warm-up, and I said, how's the brace fit? He goes, I'm not sure. It might be off after about 5 minutes, but it certainly didn't affect his throwing ability in this drive.
All right, well, he's going to take a timeout right here with a vital 3rd down coming up for the Golden Gophers. They're trying to score to even things off with 10:24 remaining in the first quarter. They've got a big 3rd and 8 after that big pass play. We'll see if they can convert it when we come back. Buckeyes defense trying to slow this Minnesota drive that faces a 3rd and 8. Minnesota first in the Big Ten, 3rd in the country in 3rd down conversions. This is a long one, though, 3rd and 8 on their opening drive, trying to tie the game here in the first quarter. Cupido lofts it for Ellerson and almost intercepted. Nice coverage by Ashton Jaboti.
Yeah, the throw just needed to be more to the outside, near the out-of-bounds line. It wasn't. It was more to the inside, and Jaboti was really the only guy that had a shot at it.
Really. Pass play again, didn't get quite enough on it out there. Ellerson had just a half step early, and Jaboti made that up quickly.
Yeah, Ellerson actually turned into a defensive guy just trying to knock the ball away from Jaboti.
Jason Giannini, the hero of the Michigan game, in to try a 32-yard field goal, and he missed it. Pushed it out to the right. Very makeable field goal, and Minnesota with an impressive opening drive that stalls, and they get nothing out of it. Well, we've got a chance here, 7-0 Ohio State. Let's check in and find out what else is going on around the country with John in New York.
Brad, in the Taco Bell update, Adrian Peterson with the high ankle sprain Looks pretty good right here. Burst of speed, and then look at the power to carry the defenders into the end zone for the touchdown. 36 yards. Oklahoma leads Nebraska 7-0. Meanwhile, Wisconsin already up 13-0 over the Illini, who are just having a horrendous year, Brad.
Brian Calhoun and Lawrence Maroney, maybe two of the best in the country, not just the Big Ten. Ginn underthrown, and he made the catch anyway. Troy Smith runs over Tremaine Banks. And Ohio State with another big pass play. This one good for 35 yards.
Well, that was the first play of this drive. The first play of the game was another long pass. Ginn had his man beat on both occasions. If this ball is higher and more to the center of the field, that ball was almost going end over end.
Yeah, it was. Nice job to get both hands under it before he hit the field turf here at the Metrodome at the 45-yard line. Another Ohio State first down. 3 wide outs, make it 4 for Smith, and they run it up the middle as they spread it out with Pittman. And Pittman got down to about the 41-yard line. We'll give him 4. It'll bring up 2nd down and 6. Boy, Bob, how demoralizing would it be if Minnesota, with that opening drive when it looked like maybe they'd even get a touchdown, miss a field goal, give up a big play. If Ohio State scores again on this drive, then you got to start wondering about the psyche of the Gophers.
Well, for sure. And you know, sometimes there's more pressure playing at home than there is playing on the road. Ohio State, they know what they have to do. It's almost like it's us against the world. And they come in here, they're prepared. And the thing about it is, Tressel, who calls the plays, is coming out with his guns firing here.
And he fires again, and it's complete again, and it's Ginn, and he's got a first down at about the 32-yard line in front of Tremaine Banks. So a couple of weeks ago, everybody was saying, where's number 7? Ed Ginn was talked about even in Heisman whispers at the beginning of the season because of his sensational campaign a year ago. And, you know, we talked with Coach Tressel the other day, and he said he was so good last year that the expectations go off the charts, and you just can't play that well every week. But he feels like he's right there, and in the past couple of weeks, he's been a big-time contributor.
We had over 200 yards in return yardage last week, plus a return for a touchdown.
Troy Smith almost perfect. 5 out of 6, 104 yards and a touchdown here early. Set to throw again. The screen set up beautifully. Pittman. The Gophers trying to bring him down, and they can't. He's still on the run, down inside the 20 to the 17-yard line. That was set up so well, and the Gopher rush came so quickly that Pittman almost outran his blockers that were out in front of him.
Just good execution. Watch the top of your screen. There's a little blitz coming to the inside. Troy Smith just buys some time, keeps backpedaling, says, come on, get closer, and then lets it go to Pittman. And he does the rest, has a couple offensive linemen down there.
Mangold got out there. The center comes into your picture, number 55, and he sprung him for about an extra 10 yards. First down at the 17. Pittman again on the ground this time. Got to the 15-yard line where Mike Sherrills made the stop. So Ohio State off to a strong start here in the first 8 minutes. 6.5 minutes of the ball game, I should say. And leading 7-0.
Ohio State's problem this year has been scoring touchdowns inside the red zone. They've been inside the red zone 26 times, and only 11 touchdowns have they come away with.
They spread Frost, the tight end, out in the slot. So out of the shotgun on 2nd and long. Here's the option. Pittman on the pitch. And he's met by a host of Gophers as he got maybe a half yard. Dominique Jones, one of the first there. Sherrills, the linebacker, as well. And now it's going to bring up a 3rd down and long. Seventh in the Big Ten, as Bob was talking about, in the red zone. 11 touchdowns in their 26 trips.
And they've scored a lot, but a lot of them have been field goals.
3rd down and 8 for Troy Smith and the Buckeyes. They'll spread everybody out with 4 wide receivers. In fact, there's 5 receivers.
That's the running back out there, Pittman at the top.
Empty backfield except for Smith, and he has all day to throw again. Crossing pattern. Holmes didn't take the ball with him. Minnesota makes a nice play. Sherrills from the front, and he got help from the back, and it's incomplete. And now Ohio State will bring out their field goal unit.
That ball was thrown behind him, or he would have picked up a nice piece of yardage and probably a first down. Troy Smith sometimes on the shorter passes has a tendency to throw them too hard.
Josh Houston is 13 out of 16 on the year. This will be a 31-yard field goal attempt from the right hash mark. And the kick is up and good. So Ohio State, after Minnesota misses a field goal, goes the length of the field, got down in the red zone, had to settle for 3. That might be a win of sorts for the morale of the Gophers defense, though, but their team down here early, 10-0. So Ohio State goes 66 yards in 8 plays, a little over 3 minutes. The big play was right off the bat. The pass from Smith to Ginn. And they stalled on a 3rd and 8, had to settle for a field goal, and they lead 10-0. That's Lawrence Maroney, one of the top backs in the country. Jakari Wallace joins him back there as Houston, who just hit the field goal, set to kick off for the Buckeyes. Let's see if this one's returnable. Jakari Wallace, one of the best in the Big Ten, but too deep. 5 yards in, he'll have to take a knee. College football on ABC Sports, brought to you by Nissan, who invite you to shift the way you move through the world. Taco Bell, think outside the bun. And IBM, become an on-demand business. IBM can help. Beautiful day in Minneapolis. Wish we were playing outside. Nothing against the Metrodome, but I've never liked this place that much.
Great weather.
I just like outside football.
Oh, yeah. I remember playing here in old Memorial Stadium over on the campus of the University of Minnesota.
I went to many as in my youth over there. Closed in 1981, and the last game there was in a Minnesota win over guess who? Ohio State. Cupido out to wheel right. Ernie's got a first down across the 30 out to the 35-yard line. Malcolm Jenkins, a freshman cornerback, is the guy trying to hold on over there.
Jenkins will play as a true freshman, as you mentioned, will play the short side of the field. He's in there for Tyler Everett, who is still out with a neck injury, injured a couple of weeks ago. Yabodi will play the wide side of the field, and this freshman will get a lot of activity to the short side, I'm sure.
First down at the 34. Maroney, the tailback, Spaeth, the tight end, switches over to the right side. See if they run it that way. On the stretch play, Maroney finally got some room. He's got great speed. Maroney into the secondary. 30, down the sideline. Lawrence Maroney all the way to the 12-yard line.
Take a look here. Maroney is here. This play is going to start. Watch the offensive line. Here's the center right here. That's Esslinger. He's pulling to lead the way. Maroney said yesterday, he says, you guys don't have to give me much. Just hold him for a second, and I'll be past you.
He said, give me 2 seconds in a crease, and I'll do the rest. He just went 53 yards. And here he comes. This is Gary Russell, who's just about as tough. And he's down to the 6-yard line, and the Gophers have something working. Schlegel made the stop. You take out Maroney, you put in this guy, and they don't lose anything.
Yeah, they've got 2 guys that can run. They've had that the last few years. Marion Barber was here last year, the couple of years. But Russell has scored 10 touchdowns, 10 rushing touchdowns. At
the 6-yard line, there's his numbers, and that 7.5 per carry is in the top 10 in the country for backs that carry it at least 10 times a game. So when he comes in, he can make a lot of things happen. 2nd down and 3. Russell, first down. It's 1st and goal, Minnesota. A.J. Hawk made the stop, but the Gophers trying to ram it down in there and make it 10-7. You know, it's amazing. We were talking about Ohio State's defense, and we did in the open. They lead the country with only 63 yards allowed on the ground per game. I kidded around with Lawrence Maroney yesterday. I said, maybe you'll have 63 at the end of the first quarter. Minnesota is over 70 yards rushing here in the first quarter, and on this drive in particular where Maroney went 53. He and Russell are both in there. Overloaded to the left. The handoffs to Russell. Cupido fell down. Russell still not down. He got down to about the 1, and it'll be 2nd down and goal. Boy, that could have been dangerous. I don't know if one of his linemen stepped on his foot or what.
That's always the problem. Down inside the 2 or 3 yard line, the offensive linemen try to get down with the defensive lineman, and sometimes your offensive lineman will reach back and trip the quarterback as they're firing out.
So here's Minnesota down at the Ohio State 1-yard line. Russell, the up man, Maroney, the tailback. 2nd and goal at the Buckeye 1. Maroney digs his head in. Touchdown, Minnesota. He got him the big one, and he got him the tough one. That's got the Gopher crowd alive at the Metrodome. Boy, what a way to answer being down by 10 points. Go 80 yards in 6 plays. The longest run allowed by Ohio State this year. Maroney got it down close. Russell popped it even closer. Maroney from a yard. Giannini with the extra point. Pretty good start here in the Big Ten, huh? Maroney makes it 10-7, Ohio State. You gotta like that one. Russell Maroney, the Minneapolis treat. Well, Russell and Maroney are the 2 guys that did it, and number 22 is the man that took it in for the touchdown.
He was talking to Owens there, Brandon Owens, the strong safety, injured a few weeks ago against Penn State. They're on the sideline, but
well, they have the same barber.
None.
Brandon Owens, really good player, injured in that collision with Michael Robinson in the Penn State game we did. We're glad he's doing better. Giannini kicks to Ginn at the goal line. They fake the end around. Ginn in the secondary. You can forget about it. Nobody's going to catch him. Ginn will take it 100 yards. Touchdown, Ohio State.
We asked Glenn Mason yesterday if he was going to kick to these guys, and he says, well, there's 2 of them back there, Holmes and Ginn. We've got to. I would have pooch putted or hit it on the ground or do something.
Just like that, you could put a big needle in the top of the Metrodome with all the air that just got let out of this crowd. And he can do it to you. Because if he's even, he's leaving, and he got even early, and it was over. Bob and I could see it from the 30-yard line that it was going to be a touchdown, and he still had 70 more yards to run. He had a long one called back last week due to an illegal block.
He's had 2 kick returns called back this year, and he's had 5 punt returns for touchdowns. The first kickoff return for a touchdown here today.
Houston's extra point is up and good. Just over 5 minutes remaining first quarter. Well, there'll never be a longer one in Ohio State history because unlike the pros, colleges from the goal line, they fake the end around, and 100 yards later in about, 10 or 11 seconds maybe, because he had to make a move.
Right there is where he was even, and he was gone. Even before he was even, he was gone.
Here's another look from the end zone.
There's no way he could have handed this ball to the guy coming back, but the coverage guys couldn't see that.
And Bob and Brad, look and see how close any red shirt gets to him. It's not like he had to fake one guy out. He had such great blocking in front of him. At his speed, all he had to do was find an angle and then just turn on the jets.
I got to tell you, if there was one perfect block that I saw, it was Stan White Jr., who right at the point of was the gate going to close or not, just leveled somebody, and then Ginn was off to the races. So now Minnesota, having gone 80 yards in a hurry, just saw Ohio State. There's Stan White Jr. Just saw Ohio State go 100 yards in, what do we figure, 11 seconds maybe? Somewhere in there. Jakari Wallace waiting on the kick, along with Lawrence Maroney. And Houston just not going to let him return one. Out of the back of the end zone again. So the Golden Gophers will work from the 20-yard line. Don't forget, coming up second half of our college football doubleheader, most of you will see Purdue take on Penn State. One surprise against maybe a disappointing Purdue team. Others will see Iowa State, Texas A&M, Maryland, Florida State, or Washington State and USC. That's all next right here on ABC Sports. Check your local listings for the game in your area. Last week, Joe Paterno got his 350th career win. Right now, Bob Stoops is the highest winning percentage by active coaches. We figured, how long would it take Bob to catch Joe? 2030. I don't know if Carol liked that beard, but Bob would look something like that. He'd be in his 70s trying to catch up with Joe Paterno. There's Lawrence Maroney again, trying a cutback run this time. There was a little bit of an opening, but it closed quickly courtesy of Dante Whitner, who helps Lawrence up.
Well, one of the things you have to do when you play Ohio State is take away Ginn and Holmes. And they have not done
either one. Yep.
Not on offense, where they've thrown it. Single coverage has been on the outside. And on the kick returns, punt returns, they've kicked it right to them.
We're only got about 3. Second down and a long 7th. The receivers bunched in close on the left side. And now Cupido looks to be changing things up at the line. And they'll run it. And Maroney almost got free again. He got a first down. He was about an inch away from getting out of there. Ellerson trying to throw him a block. He got 11 yards, though, and a first down. And Minnesota will not necessarily panic and go away from what they do. They know this is what they are.
Well, they can make big plays by handing the ball off to Maroney. 6 of his 9 touchdowns this year were for more than 30 yards. So every time you hand it to number 22, there's a possibility of a big play.
Minnesota with 86 yards on the ground now here in the first quarter. They had 411 2 weeks ago on the ground and lost to Wisconsin. And of course, that was maybe their most heartbreaking play that this program has seen in years. They had control of the game, came down to the final 25 seconds, were forced to punt, and Justin Kusek dropped the snap.
They were ahead by 10 points with 2 minutes to play against Wisconsin, and didn't play well to finish out the ball game, to say the least.
Glenn Mason will tell you that that's probably the best they've played all year overall on an entire game, except that one snap. If they could have it back, they'd have only 1 loss. Cupido, a streak to Payne, and he made the catch. Took a big hit, but again, they're picking over there on the corner. Yabodi, that time was in coverage, and nice pickup on the play of 19 yards. Let's pick up with John Saunders in New York.
Well, Wisconsin looked like they were going to stomp all over the Illini, up 13-0, but Tim Brasic goes 5 yards to Melvin Bryant, gets Illinois on the board. They're within 6 right now as the first quarter winds down. Brad.
All right, John, here Minnesota driving again, trying to answer Ted Ginn's kickoff return. They're in Buckeye territory with a first down at the 46. Play action, Cupido is going to swing it out. Wide open space, the tight end. He's got a first down and then some. Down to the 32-yard line. Good play call there. And a nice execution by Cupido to his big tight end.
He does a nice job, too, of keeping this alive. Watch these 2 defensive men here. The quarterback's going to come out to this side. He has to throw around. Watch, there's 2 guys in his face right here, and he gets the ball out to the receiver. Did a nice job.
At the 32-yard line, Spaeth rumbles down there with another Minnesota first down. Cupido is 6 out of 7. Ellerson, they fake the end around. They give it to Russell up the middle, and he got about 2 down to the 30-yard line. Gary Russell, another one of the Columbus, Ohio natives. Ohio State can't get them all, and that is a pretty talent-rich state for football.
Well, I'll say, in fact, there's a pretty big high school football game going on over there.
Is there ever? What, Massillon? And,
I think it's Massillon and Canton McKinley.
They're both undefeated, aren't they?
9-0. They haven't been 9-0 since 1900 and something. I got a note here about it.
Big game, we know that.
Big game.
Everybody's either watching this one or that one. I think that one's after this one, isn't it? Maroney, look at this. They turn it, he pitches, runs back on a naked side. Good looking play. That's a new wrinkle the Gophers put in this week. He and Cupido, the only 2 guys going that way. Everybody goes left, he goes right. 11 yards, first down.
And what this does is stop the flow of the linebackers. He starts off to our right. You can see Patterson. Cupido gets a block right there. But what that does is everything goes to the right, so all the linebackers and the defensive line goes that way. And then he says, whoa, wait a minute, I'm going back the other way.
All the way to the 19-yard line. 86 yards already in the first quarter. The toss. Waits for his blockers, trying to get to the corner. Nice job. I tell you what, he and Yabodi have had some meetings of the mind several times today.
That's one thing that to play on this Ohio State defense, you've got to be able to tackle. I don't care if you're playing a the field corner where you got to cover guys that are 4.3 speed down the field. You also have to tackle, and your Bodie can tackle, and all of the corners that have played at Ohio State, we've been doing these guys through the years, Brad. They've all been able to tackle.
No doubt. You saw Jim Haycock, the co-defensive coordinator. There he is. Luke Fickell's up in the booth, the other half of that defensive coaching tandem. Got a big loss on that play of 5. 2nd and 15. End around to wheel right. Got the first man beat, but here comes a whole bunch of white jerseys. He got back to the original line of scrimmage. Schlegel and Bobby Carpenter said, you know what, we're going to knock you halfway to the stands once you get to the sideline.
Yeah, you may be ahead of us going to the sideline, but you get somewhere you got to turn up. We're going to get you.
Hawk and Schlegel and Carpenter.
Yeah, I'll tell you what that play did right then, it winded those linebackers real quick. Look at Carpenter.
Yeah, Bobby's puffing a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
He's the biggest of the 3. He plays in a down lineman position much of the game as well. In fact, he's got his hand down right now.
He leads the Big Ten in sacks.
He's playing left defensive end. There he is. Cupido comes back the other way, completes it. DePosimus is tight end, and he got it to about the 13-yard line. And it's going to be 4th down, and Minnesota's going to have to bring out the field goal unit again. But still, an impressive-looking drive. What they can't afford to do now is miss field goals, though. They missed one earlier from about the same distance.
Well, both of his kicks have been a little bit to the right. Even the extra point that he made was a little bit to the right of center.
Missed from 32. This one's just about the length of the football outside the 30. So officially, it's a 30-yard field goal attempt from the left hash to try to put Minnesota back to within a touchdown. Giannini, the kick on the way, and he's got this one. So Minnesota has an answer for Ted Ginn. They wanted 7. They had to settle for 3. And with 9 seconds remaining in the first quarter, I don't know that we expected to see this many points this fast.
Well, I didn't expect to see this many points out of Ohio State's offense, although we've said that they're a big play offense, and if they can get the ball in the hands of Ginn and Holmes, they can score some points.
Minnesota, another 67-yard drive in 11 plays. And final 9 seconds of the first quarter. Cupido talking upstairs. I wouldn't kick to this guy. That's just my opinion.
No, we asked.
Yes, we did.
Glenn Mason about this yesterday, and you know you've seen other teams pooch it, where they'll pop it up, and you force one of the up guys around the 30-yard line. I would take that every time with these 2 guys.
What they didn't want to do is knock it out of bounds and have a penalty and have them start at the 35 all the time. But sometimes a 35 would have been a lot better than 11 seconds for 7.
Yeah, you've got their three top wide receivers back there: Ginn, Holmes, and Gonzalez.
Holmes and Gonzalez stand at about the 15-yard line, and then it's Ginn, the deep man. So that's the Bermuda Triangle, or the Columbus Triangle, if you will. And there our guys get a good shot of it.
There you go. That's the little pooch.
That's going to be a Gonzalez. This will be the second time he fields one at the 21 this time. And he's weaving through traffic and got out.
There you go.
Near the 29-yard line.
30-yard line. Take that every time.
Deion Hightower, redshirt freshman, made the stop on the special teams. Tomorrow night on ESPN, the Bills and the Patriots do battle, and Teddy Bruschi's back. Can you believe it? Not that long ago, he had the stroke, and he's back to help the Patriots defense. He'll take on the Buffalo Bills at 8:30 Eastern. Monday night, Al and John will have the Ravens and the Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger in the division leading Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday Night Football, 9 Eastern, right here on ABC.
See, everybody's got an opinion of whether Teddy Bruschi should play this quickly or not. And we really don't know.
Here's Smith on the option keeper.
I mean, we don't know about Bruschi because we don't know how bad it is or how good it is. I mean, he may be fine.
Bill Belichick led it to Teddy. He says, I trust him, and he's ready to go, apparently.
Exactly.
That's the end of a exciting first quarter. It had a little bit of everything here in Minneapolis. Goldie and the Buckeyes. 17-10. Our presentation of college football continues after this message and a word from our ABC stations. You're watching ABC Sports Championship Television. 27 points. It's not even noon in Minneapolis. Welcome back to the BCS Spotlight Game presented by ADT. Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, Lynn Swan with you. The Metrodome in Minneapolis. An action-packed Big Ten first quarter. 17-10, and both teams putting up chunks of yards.
And Ohio State doing it a little bit more quickly with the big plays, but all the same, they got more points.
Start the second quarter with Ohio State with a 2nd down and 7. Smith, the option, you'll keep it, you'll pay the price, although he did fall forward for a yard or 2. Mario Reese, the outside linebacker, helped on the play. He's really been coming on. They like him a lot. He's a junior out of Mableton, Georgia.
Since the injury to Sherrills a couple of games ago, McKenzie kicked inside. And Reese, who was a starter last year, who had not been playing a lot, got in and made a big showing last week. 2 sacks a couple of weeks ago. 2 sacks, a couple of forced fumbles.
You think he's not athletic? He was a high jump champion back in high school. That's sort of good.
Minnesota was off last week. They had a bye week.
3rd down and 6. Gonzalez in motion for the Buckeyes. Out of the shotgun, Smith fires, and it's incomplete, intended for Ginn. Tremaine Banks was there, and finally Minnesota forces Ohio State to punt it away.
Throw was a little low. Ginn has made some good catches, made some nice adjustments on some throws that have been a little offline. It couldn't come up with that one.
A.J. Trapasso will come in to punt. Minnesota will send Logan Payne back as a return man. Snap a little bit low. Trapasso got the kick away. Payne got plenty of room in front of him from the 26 to the 36 and up to the 41. About a 15-yard return. Nice job by Payne and good field position now for the Minnesota Gophers. Let's take a look at our BCS standings, brought to you by Allstate. And of course, the change was on the top this week as Texas, by about the slightest margin you can possibly overtake someone, past USC. Virginia Tech right there. Georgia, Virginia Tech won on Thursday night. Georgia plays Florida in the world's biggest cocktail party later on this afternoon. Alabama undefeated at this stage in the season for a long time. UCLA still there. Miami leading, beg your pardon, Miami and North Carolina tied the last time we heard at 7-7. And you see 8, 9, and 10 LSU, Penn State, and Florida State. Good field position, the best for Minnesota to start a drive. Russell sticks his head in there, and he got about 3. A.J. Hawk in on the tackle. A.J. Hawk, just, you know, you talk to coaches on both sides of this event today, be it Glenn Mason or, you know, the offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, doesn't matter who you talk to, everybody raves about that guy.
Well, and there's a tone of respect when they talk about A.J. Hawk. He's a 4th-year senior. He's been a 3-year starter, started maybe a little bit in his freshman year, but he has led the team in tackles the last 3 seasons.
Cupido, nice play fake, wanted it all, comes back to his safety valve, and Ellerson somehow made the catch. He's lucky he didn't get his head taken off, and then he got very close to a 1st down.
Yeah, well, first of all, the freshman defensive back, Jenkins, was out there in good shape. He had him covered, and then I was surprised at Cupido he would even throw it. There you see Jenkins, and he just doesn't make the play.
Well, Bob, he wanted to go down the middle of the field. They were trying to get the ball on the post. The cornerback was beaten, but the safety came over the top. So Cupido did a great job of coming back off his primary receiver. A little risky throwing that pass, but at least he made the smart decision.
Well, you talk about sticking your head in there for number 83. He knew what was coming. Now Russell with a 1st down run on 3rd and short, and he's got it. We mentioned North Carolina, Miami, and the ACC. Let's get an update from John.
Well, Brad, an interesting play here. Watch the bad snap. Is going back towards goal line, and Eric Winston goes back and his boot. Now that, of course, is a penalty because they were outside of the end zone, but North Carolina declines the penalty and decides to take the 2 points and the safety and a 9-7 lead. Right.
You threw me off with the unis there, John. I didn't know it was throwback day.
What color are those jerseys?
Oh, my goodness. Cupido going to go deep for Payne. Single coverage. He made the catch at the 5-yard line.
That was a heck of a play by Payne to keep his eye on the ball. Yaboni never saw it. This time, Cupido gets the ball out there. to give his receiver a chance to make a play. He saw it the whole way, got his body turned where Yabodi couldn't make the play. Yabodi never saw it.
Payne with a career-long 42-yard catch. First and goal, Minnesota trying to tie the game. Play fake, Cupido to Ellerson. Get it! Touchdown! A golden drive for the Golden Gophers. An extra point away from tying things up. A little bit of a surprise on the call there as far as I was concerned when you got both Russell and Maroney in there. Well, Mitch Browning knew that too.
Exactly. You got to do some of that. You just can't run all the time when you're supposed to run. And Browning is doing a great job of mixing up his play call.
Extra point. We're tied in Minneapolis. Whoop, what a first half. Ryan Cupido. The perfect toss. Ellerson in the corner. 17-17.
Let's go back to the touchdown and the touchdown call. Now the quarterback sees out here he's got one-on-one. Now you've got 10 other guys defensively to stop the run. Now all you got to do is run a little simple fade out there on the receiver and Yabodi. Now look at Yabodi. Yabodi never sees it, the defensive back. And that's just a wonderful throw. Throw it to the far corner and let the receiver shade or block off the defender and just catch the football.
Ellerson over 100 career catches, closing in on 2,000 yards. Minnesota's scoring drive, a 58-yard march. Here's a short kick again. And Ohio State will work from inside the 30-yard line.
Yeah, they've gone to the pooch kickoff now.
Our drive summary presented by Drive Insurance from Progressive. 58 yards in 5 plays, a little over 2 minutes. The big one was Cupido to Logan Payne, a 42-yarder that got him down close. And then when it looked like they'd run, Ryan Cupido threw a perfect pass, his 7th straight completion. And he has missed only 1 pass. I tell you what, Swanee, he might want to take that shoulder brace and spray paint it gold and never take it off.
He'll make it a good luck charm at least.
I think so. At the 29 now, tied at 17. Pittman. Antonio Pittman cuts it outside, and he's got a first down, and then all the way out to the 44-yard line, he picked up 15 yards. Pittman does not have a touchdown on the ground this year. A lot of that is because Troy Smith has so many. But Antonio comes in. He's over 700 yards on the season rushing.
He is, and the offensive line up there is they got some good starters, but they've had problems at the right tackle. Kirk Barton is not here today. Boone, the true freshman, where he ran right over him that time, is in there doing a nice job.
First down at the 44. Here he is again. A couple yards that time. Anthony Montgomery, a big defensive tackle. Anthony also an Ohio native out of Cleveland. 6'5", 310-pounder. He's one of the defensive captains, number 95 for Minnesota.
There's Frost. Brad mentioned Ryan Hamby, the starting tight end, was hurt this week, did not make the trip. And then Ryan Nickel, one of their better tight ends from last year, is also out and injured, so their top 2 tight ends are missing.
Second down. There's Smith who wants to throw. Gonzalez, boy, he caught the back end of that ball. Nice grab by Anthony Gonzalez. And you know, David Lockwood, the defensive coordinator for Minnesota, said everybody talks about Santonio Holmes and Ted Ginn, and then all of a sudden you turn on film and number 11 keeps popping up. That's this kid right here. Nice catch. Sophomore out of Cleveland.
That's exactly right. And he's in the slot. And whenever you're in the slot and you've got 2 big players outside of you, you're going to make some catches.
There's David Lockwood, the excitable defensive coordinator, former star at West Virginia. Smith throws short. Stan White Jr. made the catch, but right there to meet him is John Shelvin, the outside linebacker. Shelvin from right here in Eagan, Minnesota. One of the guys that stayed home. Most of Minnesota's roster, the majority, as you might guess, from Minnesota. The second most populous state as far as people on the roster, Ohio, with 16 players. Of course, we mentioned part of that being Glenn Mason's connection to the States, having played at Ohio State, assistant coach there for many years. Funny, you go in Glenn's office, he's got a picture of Woody Hayes that's autographed, Earl Bruce autographed. He's got his Ohio State diploma in there. That whole wall is scarlet and gray. Here's the throw. Out to Ginn. Look out. Hanging on for dear life. Doing a pretty good job is Jamal Harris. Just a little bit short, I think. Well, maybe not. Might have gotten it by half the length of the football if our line is perfect. And it is. First down, Ohio State. So they take it, move it right back into Minnesota territory in a hurry. This one might be the last guy that's got the football to win it.
Well, I'm impressed with Ohio State offensively. You know, we came in talking about the rushing offense of Minnesota, but Ohio State offensively is doing a nice job of mixing run and pass and getting some big plays to the wide guys.
There's Troy's numbers, 141 yards and a touchdown. First down at the Minnesota 33. Pittman straight up the middle, inside the 30, close to the 29. Shelvin again, the linebacker, made the stop, along with Mike Sherrills, playing some middle linebacker right now. Sherrills, a sophomore, and he was undersized and not heavily recruited. Played at John Marshall High School down in Rochester, about an hour and a half south of here. Was a fullback, and now he's a 235-pound linebacker.
Yeah, he walked on, and he was out with an ankle problem, and still not 100%. So he and McKenzie were going to kind of split that middle linebacker position.
Smith, option keeper. Dancing inside there and got down to about the 27, maybe the 26-yard line. So that's going to bring up a third down now for Ohio State. Third down has been a struggle for them at times. Last week, in fact, against Indiana, they were only 3 for 13 in their third down conversions. Today, they're 1 for 3. Now the Minnesota folks trying to make some noise on this Halloween weekend. Smith has got a cut on his chin, it appears. So we've got a timeout. He is bleeding on the chin and took a pretty good whack on that last option keeper. We'll take a timeout with him. 8:02 remaining in the half. We're deadlocked here in Minneapolis at 17. Troy Smith on that last option keeper took it right in the chin, and I mean right on the chin, about 3 times, including right there. And now the most important butterfly ever from Columbus, Ohio has been applied to his chin. The strap is back on, and the offense is back on the field.
It's going to hurt when he pulls that off.
You got that right. Third down and a long and important 3 from the shotgun. Smith with time. Now he's going to run again. Watch your chin, Troy. Down he goes, and he's short of the first down, it appears, by about a yard. Steve Davis submarined under there to make the stop, the true freshman.
Good coverage downfield, and the extra dimension that Smith gives you. Just take off running. Good defense by the Gophers. Held him short of the first down.
Jim Tressel's trying to see how far it is for the first down. His kicker is waiting patiently. You can see it's a full yard. And is the offense staying? The offense is staying. The kicker backs up. It's 4th down. Ohio State this year is 1 of 3 on 4th down conversions. And here in a Big Ten battle with 7:15 remaining in the half, tied with Minnesota. Here you go. 4th and 1.
An excellent opportunity to go for the big play.
Smith straight ahead. I don't know. I don't think so. He was stood up by Shevlin, and then he got a lot of help from his friends.
Absolutely not, boys. I'm standing on the sideline, and it's not going. It's not going Ohio State's way. They're going to be 1st and 10 for Minnesota.
The referee has called for an official's timeout. They may bring it out just to look at it, but it looks like it's 2 lengths of the football short.
Yeah, they know. The coaches know. they've got coaches up in the press box that are eyeing it right on the line, and Mason is smiling already.
Todd Gearlings is our referee, and he'll bring out the chain gang from the far side. And the biggest play of the game so far for the Minnesota defense and the Ohio State offense. Minnesota wins it. Gophers take over on downs. Boy, this is a frisky bunch right now.
Well, sometimes you go into a ball game like this, and that was when everybody's talking about the other team's defense and not about your defense. You kind of get the defense fired up a little bit.
That's David Lockwood jumping up and down behind Glenn Mason, the defensive coordinator. Minnesota will take over at its own 24-yard line. Just under 7 minutes in the half. Maroney trying to cut it outside. Lawrence gets what he can. Tiptoes out of bounds at about the 27-yard line as we check in with John in New York.
Brad, remember a year ago North Carolina beat Miami? Well, they're primed for the upset again. Ronnie McGill from 7 yards out. Remember that coming after the safety, so North Carolina has a 16-7 lead. They also got an interception on the next Miami possession. So right now, Miami and those throwbacks in a little trouble, Brett.
They got to pull out the other unis at halftime.
They've gone through that hurricane down there, so their schedule has been disrupted also.
And penalty markers down as Spaeth makes the grab. Schlegel makes the tackle, but again a flag at the line of scrimmage. Miami's games will all be daytime games and early starts, preferably because of the light damage done at the Orange Bowl, among other things. There's a motion penalty on Minnesota, so it's going to be second down and about 13.
Illegal motion, number 83 of the offense. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat, second down.
So the Ohio State defense gets a little break there as Minnesota's going to be back further into its own territory at the 21-yard line. Now, Ohio State's defense, though, this year has been so good. Third in the country, first in the Big Ten. They allow 255 a game. They have given up 278 to Minnesota with 6:42 to go in the first half. Cupido swings it out. Maroney trying to get ahead of steam. Saw Bobby Carpenter, and all of a sudden, Wolfgang, the invisible dog, brought him down.
Well, he had so much.
Line.
He was out in the open with no linebackers around him, but they were all closing in. he was thinking faster than his feet could go.
That's right.
Just slide out of the backfield. Cupido looks downfield and then dumps it.
Now it's move time. Whoop,
I see,
whoop, yep.
I see Carpenter, I see Schlegel, I see Winter.
Yeah. I see the carpet.
Yeah.
There's Carpenter in a down lineman position again. Third down for Minnesota. Cupido's in trouble, flushed out of the pocket, trying to throw, and he throws it away. Payne was in the general vicinity, and Minnesota's going to have to give it back.
You're going to have to do that. You get possession 12, 13, 14 times. You're going to have to punt the ball 4, 5, 6 times at least. So against a good defense, for sure.
Minnesota's got a guy down.
That's Setterstrom.
And he's had trouble with his ankle this year. And his buddies are helping him off. That's a pretty tight group, that offensive line. You can see the boot on the left huge foot of Mark Setterstrom, one of the captains. 6'3", 305-pounder out of Northfield, Minnesota. Pretty amazing on both these teams. The center and the guard are the offensive captains. Yeah. Tells you a little bit about it. Huh?
And the two centers, Esslinger and Mango, probably two of the best centers in the country.
Cusack to punt. Ted Ginn is back. Cusack, a twister coming out of there, and it twists out of bounds at about the 41-yard line. There's the problem you have if you don't kick it to Ted Ginn. Sometimes you try to keep it away from him, and you only get 29 yards out of the punt. Well, Troy Smith, that chin might be sore, but his right arm's fine. He gets his chance with the Buckeyes offense, and we're tied when we come back. College football on ABC Sports brought to you by Chevy. The new Chevrolets, an American revolution. Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper, one taste and you get it. And Aflac, ask about it at work. Strolling down to Mississippi, splitting Minneapolis and St. Paul here in the Twin Cities. Beautiful day in the upper Midwest. Bob Greasy and Lynn Swan. I'm Brad Nessler. Nice to have you with us, along with our ABC crew in Minneapolis. Good game of the Metrodome. 17 apiece. Number 13, Ohio State. Number 20, Minnesota. Play action. Smith's in trouble. Down he goes. Anthony Montgomery's the first guy there. Number 95, the big defensive captain. That's the first sack of the day for the Golden Gophers.
Watch in here. Number 95 is Montgomery. He's just going to handle the offensive guard. That was Sims. Maybe got knocked off by the back coming through there. Those offensive linemen hate that.
Big Anthony came into the meeting yesterday with kind of a letter sweater thing on and a t-shirt and a tie over the t-shirt. I like the look. I liked it a lot. The only maroon and gold tie on a guy that big in the whole state of Minnesota.
Yeah, with construction boots.
And jeans that were 6 times too big.
There he is again. He knows we're talking about it. He just made the tackle on Pittman.
That's the way these kids wear these jeans now. If you wear a size 44, you're getting a 54.
He's a pretty good player. Reminder, near the conclusion of our game, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game. Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. That's getting a little bit loud in here again. Another 3rd and long, 3rd and 13. 4 wideouts for Troy Smith. Smith, here they come again. Nice throw on the run, and he got Gonzalez again. Needed 13. There's a flag down in the Ohio State backfield. They picked up 21, but it's coming back.
That was the best play that Troy Smith has made today, buying some time, sliding forward, finding a receiver for a first down, but it's all for naught.
And here's the call.
Holding 77 of the offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat, 3rd down.
David Lockwood is liking what he sees. Sims is having trouble right now with Anthony Montgomery.
Watch right here on the left guard. Montgomery, who we've been featured, does a little arm over a swim. And then right here, he's grabbing him.
Got him by the elbow.
And the umpire right there that lines up behind the defensive line, looking only for tripping or for holding, called the play.
3rd and 24 now. Smith, quarterback draw. Going to try to cut it outside. Here comes the maroon and gold, and they'll stick him down at about the 37-yard line. Dominic Jones, the freshman safety, made the stop, and so both teams forced to punt it back and forth to each other here in the last 3 minutes.
Well, you couldn't go at the pace we were going for the first 3 or 4
No, it would have been
possessions.
68 to 65 or something.
But I like that call. It was a safe call. 3rd and real long. Chances of picking it up aren't that good. Just let your quarterback show pass and run.
So that'll bring out Trapasso to kick. Logan Payne had a nice return last time, about 15 yards. Trapasso hit it a mile in the air. Payne waiting on it from the 19. Nice stiff arm. Whoa. Knocked the. Oh, and now we got a punch thrown. That was A.J. Hawk. And if that's a punch thrown, he might not play anymore today.
Well, he got stiff-armed right in the face. In fact, Hawk's helmet came off.
And we're going to sort it all out.
The stiff arm was right in the face mask. It's a personal foul against the return man.
Now, what about after the play, though?
Personal foul. Face mask. Return team. Number 84. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
We'll get another great look at it.
I think this was a good call. I think this is a good guy. You don't, offensive guys more often than not will put their hand on the defensive guy's face mask.
Now wait to the end of the play. You see obviously the face mask there. Now wait a minute. What happens? Oh, I thought there was a punch thrown. I guess not. At least the officials didn't feel that way. So the penalty goes against Minnesota. Backs them up. They would have had tremendous field position. Here's another angle.
Well, you know, face mask can go both ways. No, Hawk didn't hit him.
No, he didn't. He did not.
He was trying to get on top of him and just talk to him.
Just have a nice little
Just talk
conversation.
to him, yeah.
First down for the Gophers at the 15. Here's the long handoff to Maroney. And Maroney took a big shot as he goes down after a gain of about 4. Marcus Green made the tackle. Boy, that Minnesota sideline was pretty excitable down there, and they weren't happy with what transpired in either direction. Weren't happy with the offensive personal foul penalty, and weren't happy that they didn't get something in return. That's Luke Tressel to Glenn Mason's right, our camera left. He's the wide receiver coach for the Gophers, and he is Jim's nephew. And there's Uncle Jim.
Uncle Jim. And his dad's on the other sideline, too.
That's right, Dick's the running back coach. Here's Maroney going left. Got some blockers in front. He's got a first down, and he's out to the 33-yard line. And again, though, he didn't necessarily follow him. You see Esslinger way out in front. We said to him the other day, Lawrence, sometimes you get downfield and wonder what in the heck number 61's doing down there with you. He says, yeah, sometimes he's in front of me, and I can't catch him. I doubt that that's true, but he's some kind of center. Maroney's over 100 yards on the ground in the first half. First down, Minnesota. Just inside its own 34. Cupido. Deep outs. Payne's got the catch, and he's going to be very close to another first down. In fact, I think he's got it by about a yard. Don't forget, coming up on the Capital One halftime show, John and Craig and Aaron will have highlights and analysis from around the country, and a feature on Texas A&M's Midnight Yell. If you've never been to that, it's a pretty special moment. Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, and Lynn Swan at the Metrodome. 17-17. Under 2 minutes to play in the half. Ellerson in motion. Maroney looking for a crease. Almost got one. He got into Ohio State territory at the 48-yard line. Again, Marcus Green in on the stop.
Whenever you can run the ball as well as Minnesota can run it, that's going to open up the outsides and have single coverage on these wide receivers versus the cornerbacks.
We've got a timeout. Minnesota in Ohio State territory at the 48 with a second down coming up. Can they score before halftime and take the lead? We'll find out when we come back. Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. Ohio State had the early lead in the ball game, but Lawrence Maroney, who's over 100 yards, got Minnesota back to within 3. Didn't take long, about 11 seconds for Ted Ginn to take it 100 yards on a kickoff return for a touchdown. And that put the Buckeyes back in front, but Brian Cupido, a perfect fade to Jared Ellerson in the corner of the end zone. You mix in a couple of field goals each way, that's where we are. It's 17-17 with 1:31 remaining in the first half. Minnesota back in Ohio State territory. They have not led today. Trailing 10-0 early. And now they've got it in Buckeye territory. Second down and 3.
Brad Setterstrom, the left guard, is back in.
Spade, the tight end, in motion. The toss is to Maroney. Trying to wait for his blockers. And I think he's got the first down at the 45. Malcolm Jenkins in on the stop, along with David Patterson. Maroney so patient that sometimes you lose sight of the fact of how fast he is. Of course, he showed us his speed with that 53-yard run earlier today, but he waits and waits and waits for that zone blocking and just waiting for a crease or a cutback lane. And he's got his 7th 100-yard game of the season here already in the first half.
There haven't been many good runners that were not patient.
This time he goes down right at the line of scrimmage. You talk about first halves that this guy's had. He's had some games where he's had 200 yards in the first half. And he's had several 200-yard games this year. It all started with Tulsa. Had a 200-yard game there, then 217 against Purdue. Then he went for 258 against Wisconsin, part of a 411-yard rushing day, and they still lost the ball game. Cupido. Plenty of time. Brian's going deep down the sideline. Broken up. Ellerson, the intended receiver. He took a big hit. Yabodi was back there.
Yeah, he got hit by the safety. That was a two-deep zone, and he had help from the safety. And the ball was hanging out, and the safety just got over there with a free shot.
Dante Winter's going to be the
corner on the outside. Will roll up a little bit. He's got safety help. Do you see the safety coming over with a free shot at him?
Yep. And he tried to hang in. He made a catch like this earlier, remember?
I'm not sure if it was the hit or just the fact the hit caused him not to be able to get his arms down and protect himself.
He comes out on 3rd and 10 and flags down. I'll whistle this one dead. with 40 seconds left. Minnesota has 1 timeout remaining.
Ball start, 89. Offense, 5-yard penalty. Down remains 3rd.
Well, it's almost since that timeout things have gone backward for the Golden Gophers. They were moving it pretty well. Stalled a little bit. Now they've got 3rd down and a mile. And in this situation, we talked with Mitch Browning, the offensive coordinator. If you really need a big play, where do you go? And he said normally it would be Ellerson, and if not Ellerson right now, probably the best guy is Wheelwright. He's right there at the end of the huddle, number 82. Now, whether they try to pick up a full 15 here or not, they do have 1 timeout remaining.
You're going again. You're on 3rd down and 15, and you're going up against the 3rd best pass rushing team in the nation.
That includes Carpenter, who's playing left defensive end, and he's in his track stance, and here he comes. Cupido going to throw it again across the middle to Maroney. They won't get anywhere near 1st down territory. They get it to about the 43-yard line. Clock running down to the 32nd mark.
But I like the call. Don't make a stupid play. Don't throw it downfield up for grabs. Get it to one of your speed guys in some open space and see what he can do.
So Minnesota going to let that clock wind down before they either bring out the punting unit or go for 1 home run ball here. In final seconds, ticking away. And now they stop it with 2 seconds remaining. So just a couple seconds left in the half. It's going to be a tie game at halftime, barring a prayer answered by Minnesota, unless they just take a knee to end the game. We don't expect that. Tonight on ESPN, Michigan visits Brett Bassanez and the high-octane Northwestern Wildcats. College football primetime presented by Polaroid on ESPN tonight at 7 o'clock Eastern. And that'll be a big game and go a long ways toward finding out how good Northwestern is. They're about the hottest thing in the Big Ten right now.
I know their offense is good and their defense is bad.
That's true.
Defense is the worst in the country.
But they might put 50 on you. That's the
true.
problem.
They're always exciting to watch. Michigan, they can score also.
So the final couple seconds upcoming. We've got 1 snap left, barring a defensive penalty.
There are 2 things you do here. One or the other. You just send your guys deep down to the end zone and throw the big Hail Mary and hope you get lucky with the bounce. Or 2, try to hit one of your backs or somebody going across the field about 15, 20 yards and hope that they can run it in. Now, Ted Ginn, I'd take that chance with him.
Ellerson, Wheelwright, and Jakari Wallace go out as the trio to the top of your screen. Cupido from the gun. Sets up and goes long. Wheelwright is the deepest man. Knocked away, incomplete. Boy, they got it semi-close, but nice coverage back there with the nickel defense for the Ohio State Buckeyes. So a great first half here in the Big Ten in Minneapolis. 10-0 Ohio State early. Minnesota battles back, and now we're even at 17 apiece. And let's head down to Swanee.
Coach Mason, want to take a look at this play in the 4th quarter, the 4th down stop. How big was this for your football team?
Well, I think it's monumental. Let's face it, Ohio State's a very talented football team, and we've had our woes around here on defense, and they rose to the occasion, and they chose not to go for the field goal, give us a little momentum, and it's halfway to go, and we're tied up.
You had to be concerned about Cupido coming in this ball game. He's wearing the brace. I guess your fears were somewhat relieved by this first half.
Well, I had the advantage, Lynn, of watching him practice for really the last 2 weeks, and he seemed fine. He's only probably still mad at me because I wouldn't let him play against Wisconsin.
Well, he won't be mad if you just let him keep throwing the ball in the second half,
Great,
Coach.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Coach. Thank you, Glenn and Swanee. Halftime in Minneapolis at the Metrodome. Ohio State 17, Minnesota 17. Let's take it now to our New York studio. John, Craig, and Aaron standing by. Fellas.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. We shouldn't be surprised if this is a close game. It comes down to a microcosm of what the Big Ten is, and that's pretty much that you have parity from top to bottom. But is that parity good teams or average teams?
I don't think they're bad teams. I think they're very good football teams out there. And you see Lawrence Maroney out there running today like he is. I mean, you've got some real strength. He said going into the game, expect it to be physical. What I'm very impressed with is Minnesota's defense. I mean, Minnesota's defense, I didn't think they'd come into this game and shut down Ohio State, and Ohio State's struggling a little bit with it.
They're struggling a lot, and something that I'm impressed with is Minnesota's offense. I like what I'm seeing. They came out and made a concerted effort to throw the ball early. They're using the pass to set up the run, and it's working beautifully. Ohio State, guys, looks off balance right now.
They can thank Ted Ginn for the fact that Ohio State is in this game. Minnesota and Cupertino for the 17-17 tie.
Glenn Mason got a big gorilla off his back when Minnesota beat Michigan. Can he go doubles and beat Michigan and Ohio State for the first time since 1940? We're about to find out in the next hour or two. Welcome back, everybody. Brad Nessler and Bob Greasy. Great first half, Grease. 17-17. Ohio State a 10-0 lead. Minnesota in a hole. They stayed with their game plan. Kind of the guys we expected to be stars have been. The only thing that's given a little bit is that Ohio State defense.
Well, they have, and so who's going to give, who's going to take, and all that other stuff. Maroney is taken. I think the bottom line of this whole thing is Ohio State's offense, who came out and scored on the first two possessions. Third possession, Ginn runs the touchdown back. They've got to come back out and reestablish themselves because they're going to have to score some points.
Ryan Cupertino maybe is the X factor right now.
He is, and we didn't think that he would play this well. Because he's been off week. He was injured week, and then he was at the bye week. He's come back with fresh legs and a fresh arm, and has really played well, passing for only almost 200 yards in the first half.
So the Ted Ginn 100-yard kickoff return, a big play for Ohio State. Cupertino to Ellerson and Payne and 198 and a touchdown and 7 different guys he's used. And now Minnesota will have the ball first to start the third quarter. Deep kick, and this one's gone.
I'll tell you, the kickers love in this dome.
No doubt about that. Let's check in with Lynn Swan. Swanee?
Well, on the forefront of Jim Tressel's mind coming out is Brian Cupertino. The fact that Minnesota's been able to get a number of big plays and move the ball down the field. So he says his priority is to stop those big plays of the Minnesota Golden Gophers. On the other side, Bob, he says, yes, our offense has got to score more points, but what they have to do is be a little riskier in the second half. They've got to go after some big plays. They've got to take a little more chance to make that happen.
We'll find out as we start quarter number 3 with Minnesota at its own 20. Gary Russell, the single set back to throw. Out to Jakari Wallace, probably the smallest guy on the field. They got about 5 yards out to the 25-yard line. As we take a look at our Pacific Life game summary, statistically, I tell you what, if you'd have given Minnesota and said to Glenn Mason, how about 335 yards of offense? He might have said, I'll take that maybe for the whole ball game. Definitely for a half, that's for sure. 200
yards, almost 200 yards passing. No turnovers in the ball game. Time of possession's about the same.
Second down. And pickup of maybe 2 by Gary Russell. A.J. Hawk made the tackle. So Minnesota immediately finds himself in a third down situation. Russell, a little bit of a change from Maroney. Maroney, a slasher with great speed. Russell, he's not slow either, but he doesn't mind banging his head in there.
Yeah, now if you're Minnesota, you're happy with the first half, but you still have to come out and play.
Ellerson in motion on 3rd and 3. Cupertino looks to him, now comes back the other way, streaking down the sideline. Incomplete. It was wheelwright out there, and Yabodi stayed with him.
And I like the call, even though he looked short. He had 3 receivers going down to pick up the first down. They were all covered. And then Mitch Browning says, if they're covered, throw the ball deep, see if we can get a big play.
And now Cusack will come out to punt. And he would like to keep it out of the hands of Ted Ginn. Ginn already has tied the Big Ten mark for most career punt return touchdowns. There he is already with a kickoff return score to his credit today.
I would definitely not kick it to this guy.
See if Cusack can aim it away from him, but get a little more distance on this one. And he kicks it to him, but it's high enough for a fair catch, and a flag flies in near midfield. A 35-yard punt, a little bit better that time, but no return at all. And again, we'll wait and see on the flag now. It's holding on Minnesota, which is kind of a strange call, unless he pointed the wrong direction. And he did. Thank you.
Good call there. Yeah, not by the official, I mean by my partner.
Didn't seem possible to have a holding call on the Gunners
Holding,
coming down.
number 2 of the receiving team. During the kick, post-scrimmage kick enforcement, 10 yards from the end of the kick. First down.
Actually, our ace Minnesota spotter, Clint Deans, is the guy that spotted that more than I did. Home game for Clint. Mike Croakey, our cameraman up here with us, a Minnesota native. We've got a bunch of Minnesota folks that getting the trip back.
Don't you know?
Don't you know? You betcha.
You betcha. Oh, no.
I had a chance to come in a day early and go down and see Bunny.
How's Bunny doing?
Bunny is as pretty as a spring day and as tough as a $2 steak.
So you got 50-yard line seats for this
She's
one?
got the 50. First and 10. Ohio State. Here's a cutback run. Pittman's got a little bit of room. Harris, nice open field tackle by Jamal Harris. Stayed home and waited on the running back for Ohio State.
Happy holidays, everybody. Brad Nessler and Stu Boyd with you. With a cold and snow outside, the Vikings look to put the heat on Jim Everett and the Rams here in Minneapolis today and hope that Minnesota fans later will be walking in a wild card winner's winter wonderland.
Yeah, I like that.
It was the booth next door, and I had a lot more hair. And about 15 pounds ago, I think.
How many years was that?
Oh, boy, that was back in 88 and 89. And here's Pittman into the secondary. He's gone. Unless Harris can catch him. Touchdown, Ohio State.
It's his first rushing touchdown of the year. He looked good doing it.
Talked about the big plays of Maroney and company, and Pittman just ripped it off a 67-yard career-long touchdown run. Wow. Just a bag full of big plays from this Ohio State team.
Good call by Jim Tressel, who calls the offensive plays. And whenever you come out in your first drive, your first few plays of the second half, and do that, something, so you found out something at halftime and you got the play call.
Houston's extra point is up and good. So a shocked Metrodome crowd again. As early in the half, the first half, it was big plays by Ohio State to take the lead. Another big play, 67-yarders, giving them the lead again. Minnesota almost looked like they were a man short here, Bob.
Well, they went 4 wide receivers. There's 2 wide receivers out on either side. This is the only linebacker in the game. Watch the block of Mangold, the center, and Sims, the guard, the left guard. Huge hole up there. Mangold blocking back, Sims getting his man, and then Pittman just say, hey, there's no moves here, just downtown.
So Houston to kick. Cupido and the Minnesota offense will be playing in a hole again, and they'll be playing from the 20 again. Well, this kid doesn't let anybody run any kicks back.
I think it's a huge advantage for kickers in college and in the pros if you can kick in a dome.
That's 5 touchbacks kicked by Houston. And Cupido now gathers his offense. So Minnesota, they've been down before and battled back to tie. Let's see if they can do it again. Leaders offensively for the Golden Gophers. Maroney over 100 in the first half. Brian Cupido almost 200 yards throwing. And Logan Payne 72 yards on 3 catches. And it was Ellerson who caught the touchdown pass after Payne got him down close.
Good numbers for Cupido. He hit 7 different receivers.
Here's Maroney. Nope, not this time. Going to lose about a yard.
Ran over a photographer over there.
Almost ran over Swanee.
Swanee.
Look out there, partner.
Hey, listen, I'm moving very quickly because, as you know, our good friend John Falk, who is the equipment manager over at Michigan, was standing on the sideline and got hit, broke his leg, and it was unbelievable. I called him this morning. John, we wish you well. We know you're going to be in the hospital another 4 or 5 days, but you take care of yourself and watch that sideline next time.
John, a good buddy of ours for a long, long time. Everybody in the Big Ten knows him. I know he's watching today, John. We send all of us our best that you have a quick recovery, and of course he's the guy that's the keeper of the little brown jug, and Minnesota brought that brown jug home courtesy of Gary Russell's 61-yard run and Giannetti's field goal a few weeks ago up in Michigan to win the little brown jug, one of the coveted trophies that Minnesota plays for. They lost the jug They lost the governor's victory bell to Penn State. They won the jug, lost the governor's victory bell. They lost the axe to Wisconsin 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
They still got Floyd of Rosedale to play for when they meet Iowa. That's a lateral. Maroney will get credit for a run, but he's not going to get much yardage.
I think they're going to get another play here. I think Ohio State was offsides.
Bobby Carpenter, number 42, might have been the guy. Boy, it's getting a little hotter down there, you can tell, and it has nothing to do with the 72 degrees in the Metrodome. But both these teams know how important this game is. And the offside call will go against Ohio State's
42, defense. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat, third down.
Third down. There's John with the jug, and he had to give it up to Minnesota a few weeks ago. And a happy bunch of Gophers.
Yeah, you know Johnny Falk wasn't happy about that. He had had that thing for a long time. And Glenn Mason, we were talking to him yesterday. He said he called John, talked to him in the hospital. And we all wish Johnny nothing but the best and a quick recovery.
Third down and 5. Gary Russell in at the tailback. A bunch of receivers to the top of your screen with Ellerson now in motion. Cupido, look out, backside pressure's got a man wide open. Spaeth, the tight end, down the sideline, midfield, puts his head down and bangs his way to the 40-yard line. Boy, there was nobody but Spaeth over on this side. A pickup of 35 yards.
This is one of those sneak plays by the tight end. Spaeth is going to be over here and just sneak after everything. The flow of the whole play goes the other way. Watch him just sneak through right here, and there is nobody halfway can touch him. I mean, you could run all night. You only have a problem. Only problem with that play, you threw it to a tight end.
That's right.
He can't run very fast.
He can't run all day. He did run to the 40, though. And there he is in motion. Here's the toss to Russell. Russell puts his head down and got about 3, maybe 4 down near the 36-yard line. Talking about the little brown jug, and Glenn Mason was so proud to bring that home, and he said the band met the team at the airport. They were playing the Minnesota Rouser and the whole thing, and then he said I had to do all my interviews, and he said everybody left. Here I am holding the jug. He said I had to carry it out of there, so I put it in my car. I called my wife Kate and said I'll meet you down at Manny's. We'll have a steak. We'll celebrate. He goes downtown. He realizes the jug's in the back seat. He doesn't want to leave it with the valet. I'll tell you the rest of the story in a minute. 2nd and 6. Here's Russell. Esslinger in front of him, but he's cut down from behind by Nate Sally. So just to finish off the story.
So he's going in the bar.
He's going in, man. He's a famous steakhouse up here, and he said, I don't know what to do with the jug. His wife Kate said, bring the jug in with you. He goes, I wouldn't do that. She said, if you don't take it in, I'm taking it in. He took the jug in. He said the little brown jug was a bigger star at Manny's than he was. Everybody's taking pictures with it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to pick it up. That jug is, 90 years old, 100 years old.
Yeah, that's right.
But the best thing is, I mean, he felt awkward about bringing the jug in like he was showing off a trophy. But when he brought it in, I mean, they wanted that jug for so long. He said it was one of the greatest moments that he's ever had. It was so much fun, and all the people there just got excited taking their picture with the little brown jug.
Yep. And Yabodi gets up, and that's good to see. Speaking of Minnesota history, Minnesota and Wisconsin. Minnesota won the Big Ten title and also the national title, with Sandy Stevens taking it in, the All-American quarterback, and the 1960 champions finished 8-2. Sandy Stevens has one of the few retired numbers here for the Golden Gophers. Big third down right here, 3rd and 2, with 10:35 to go, third quarter. Here's the toss. Russell wants to throw it back to Cupido. It does. Oh, that was dangerous. That would have been a touchdown for Malcolm Jenkins. He just couldn't get both hands on it.
Well, he had the receiver on the near side toward the toss, wide open down the field. And they practice these things, and he's so in tune of throwing it back the other way. He didn't even look down the field.
And you wonder why they do a play like this on 3rd and 2. I think they'd already made their mind up. This is 4-down territory for them. So let's try it and see if we get a home run.
Yeah, in practice, Cupido was always out there wide open by himself, so he just threw it, didn't even look.
4th down and 2, Minnesota. A lot of shuffling on that Ohio State defensive line. Option pitch. Can Maroney get to the corner? I don't think so.
What about Kudla? Kudla there. The speed.
Kudla, number 57, makes a play for Ohio State, and the Buckeyes will take over.
Cupido threw the ball so quickly on the option. He pitched it so quickly. He didn't hold Kudla that very long.
A defensive end has to commit on the option.
Right there, number 57.
Russell got a decent block, but Kudla, that excellent speed, and he drags Maroney down. Nice job by Mike Kudla. Senior out of Medina, Ohio. 265 pounds, lives in the weight room. What they say his body fat percentage was 8 or 9 or something.
Less than
265, 70-pound body. First down, Ohio State. So both teams have gone on 4th down today and failed. Pittman ripped a long one the last time he touched it. This time he got 3, almost 4, before Mario Reese made the stop. Time for our Aflac trivia question here with 10 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter. Minnesota won that 1960 national championship despite losing their last game. When did that last happen in the coaches poll? Okay.
These questions are getting harder.
Losing their last game. Okay. Got to think on that one a little bit. 2nd down and a long 6 coming up, and we got a timeout with 9:38 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Ohio State in front by a touchdown, and they're on offense when we come back. Well, it's Ohio State that's come out here in the 3rd quarter. So important in the first 5 minutes of the 3rd quarter. A lot of times determines a ball game. And partner, I don't know, that Pittman run, maybe that's the turning point so far.
I think Ohio State and Jim Tressel and his coaches found something. They came out. Now this is the 2nd possession. It's a big stop for Minnesota. They need defensively to get the ball back because Ohio State scores again. Be tough for them.
How about Minnesota going on that last 4th down? You agree with that one or not?
Hey, yeah, I do. It's you know, it was too close to punt the football. I like the play that they tried, the gimmick play, but sometimes those work and sometimes they don't.
2nd and 6. Gonzalez in motion for the Buckeyes. Smith out of the shotgun. Drops back, fires to his tight end, and he's got him. And it's going to be very close to another 1st down. Maybe a little bit short for Marcel Frost. Reese made the stop. And it'll bring up 3rd down and about 1, it appears. Troy Smith had another good ball game.
He has. He had good numbers at halftime. Has continued to throw the ball well. The biggest thing is no interceptions and no fumbles. For a guy that handles the ball as much as he does on options and quarterback draws, you just need to take care of the ball.
They may have jumped the gun on guessing that he was a yard short. They're going to bring the sticks from the far side, so they feel like it's closer than that. And it's really close. In fact, they got the 1st down. They had to get down on one knee to check it out. Time permitting. Stay tuned for the Thrifty Car Rental post-game report. John Craig and Aaron will have scores and highlights from around the country. When last we heard, North Carolina was trying to surprise Miami again. Big Ten games that are going on. 27-10, Wisconsin is leading Illinois, and Michigan State had a 25-8 lead on Indiana at last report. Don't forget Purdue and Penn State next for many of you as our doubleheader. And Northwestern and Michigan tonight on ESPN will be a good game. 1st down run. Steve Davis makes a stop on Antonio Pittman as we tick under the 9-minute mark in the 3rd quarter. This is the 45th meeting between Ohio State and Minnesota. Goes all the way back to 1921. That one was in Columbus. And Ohio State's been pretty successful in Minneapolis. They're 18-4 and have won 8 in a row here, trying to make it number 9 today. Second down and 8. Ginn and Holmes have been quiet. So much for quiet. Holmes with a catch in the first down.
It's Holmes' first catch since the first drive of the ball game.
Of course, he had the touchdown that put Ohio State with their first score on the board. 15-yard pickup there, and they moved the chains into Minnesota territory just inside the 41-yard line. Ted Ginn, of course, his contribution not only as a receiver was the 100-yard kickoff return. If you missed that in the first half, you blinked your eyes more than 3 times, and he was from one end zone to the other. First and 10 now for the Buckeyes with a 7-point lead. They fake the handoff, play action throw, and it was Holmes, the intended receiver, and Tremaine Banks got a little tangled up, or he might have had an interception.
That's the same route that Banks got beat on, or Harris got beat on before in the first drive of the ball game. Watch him, he's going to go down, break to the post a little bit, looks back, which is great for a receiver, but this is just well played by Banks. Cups in front of him. The only thing he could have done better is intercepted the football.
Minnesota only has 5 interceptions for the season, and they haven't had one in the last 3.5 games. That was maybe one of their best shots at it right there. But again, Tremaine got his feet a little bit tangled up with Santelio. Took him off his stride, and he dropped it. 4 receivers now for Smith. They'll spread him out and run Pittman. And Pittman's into the secondary again. First down.
That's the same formation that scored the touchdown earlier in the first possession of the second half. 4 wide receivers. And what that does, it spreads the defense from sideline to sideline. Look at them, spread from sideline to sideline. These 2 linebackers inside are the only 2 guys to make any plays.
You know what? I think Antonio Pittman might have said this week, I know Lawrence Maroney and Gary Russell are really good, but don't forget about me. He's got 144 yards on the ground.
Well, it's been a long time since an Ohio State running back had over 1,000 yards in a season.
That would have been an easier trivia question. Gonzalez, touchdown. Just split through that seam, and nobody was near him. 27-yard strike from Troy Smith.
It's just a wonderful throw. It's the same formation. They've come out in 4 wide receivers and 1 back, and it splits the defense from sideline to sideline, and they're just picking them apart.
So about to become a 2-touchdown margin, which will be the biggest of the day. Minnesota trailed 10-0 early and fought back. Now they're going to have to come back from 31 to 17 down. And the extra point is good. 68-yard drive in a hurry. Big play offense of Ohio State is in high gear this afternoon. Troy Smith, Anthony Gonzalez, touchdown. It's 31-17.
Let's go take it back and take a look at the touchdown. Here's what I mean. There's 2 wide receivers over here and 2 over here. Here is Gonzalez. He just got to... All he has to do is just slide inside the defensive back and head upfield, because the defense is spread from sideline to sideline. They've been using that formation to run the ball up the middle and also to throw the back. Smith did a nice job, but Gonzalez did a good job of not bringing too far into the center where the center fielder was, or the middle safety.
Houston hasn't had one return today. Still hasn't had one return today. 14 points lead for Ohio State now. We asked you the Aflac trivia question earlier. Minnesota won the 1960 AP National Championship despite losing their last game. When did that last happen in the coaches poll? Anybody got anything?
Swanee, you had any books open down there checking this?
Hey, listen, I can open up my book. I wouldn't find that one unless it was Minnesota. So I'll say Minnesota.
Bob's going to have a guess in a minute.
61, Minnesota.
Here's Cupido. Lobs it. And out of bounds, intended for Ellerson, and they were looking for an offensive pass interference and didn't get the call. Okay, I'll make it. I don't know. Does it have to be an Ohio State, Minnesota answer?
No, doesn't have to.
Let's pick somebody else that's won a bunch of national championships.
Alabama. Oklahoma.
I'll go Alabama.
What year?
I don't know.
You got to have the year.
So that's not fair.
Why? That wasn't part of the question.
Alabama.
Yeah, but 73 said what year?
Oh, well, I remember the game, but that was total guess. I won't take credit for that. Here's Maroney. So we didn't know that one, did we?
No, we didn't know that one. I mean, we had some ideas, but
only ideas and only rough guesses. So I don't think our scoreboard changes from a couple of weeks ago. Still Bob in command. Swally and I within striking distance.
Yeah, I'm swinging for the fence.
Swally's going long on 4th and short the rest of the year. 3rd down and 7.
Big down for Minnesota here.
Cupido with plenty of time. Deep middle. Wallace got it. First down.
What a great throw there. Schlegel, 51, was trying to run with him.
Jakari Wallace, a little guy, 32-yard pickup.
And got Maroney through a great block in the second in that backfield to make sure his quarterback didn't get nailed.
He told us yesterday, I'm never going to let my quarterback get hit if I can help it, because they usually don't get by my lineman, and then I try to help, and he did there.
This was a 2-deep zone, and Schlegel, the middle linebacker, trying to run with the inside slot guy.
They're going to throw long again, this time for Ellerson. Yabote's out there. Ellerson made a great catch at the 1-yard line.
That reminds me of another wide receiver that used to play in this building.
Ahmad Rashad?
A little younger.
How about Randy Moss? Just throwing it up, and Ellerson just went up and made a great catch.
1st and goal, Minnesota, and watch this adjustment.
You saw Cupido look away to keep the safety away from this. Now just give your man one chance against the other guy.
Minnesota, just when the chips are down and it looks like they're going to get blown out, they keep fighting back.
Ellerson only 6'1".
1st and goal, Russell airborne, touchdown, Minnesota. They're not giving up. An extra point away from a 7-point ball game again.
Well, as good as Maroney has been today, the guy that has been keeping him in the game is Cupido, the quarterback.
An important point after coming up for Giannini, who has missed a few this year. This one's perfect. Ryan Cupido. And Minnesota battle back. They go the length of the field, and Russell from a yard out. It's 31-24. Ellerson with a great grab at the 1-yard line, and Russell did the rest. Mitch Browning there, the offensive coordinator, talking with his wide receivers and his running backs. Minnesota back to within 7. Russell, that's his 11th touchdown of the year on the ground. Short kick. Again has to run up on it on the 20. Look out. Kicker got him. Or he might have been gone again. Giannini got up there and pushed him out of bounds. College football on ABC Sports, brought to you by Hummer. Check out the H2 Hummer like nothing else. Bud Light, smooth and refreshing. Bud Light, great taste. And Citi, Simplicity Credit Card. Citi, live richly. The Buckeyes in Minneapolis, where they've won 8 straight. They're in a battle against the 20th ranked Golden Gophers of Minnesota. Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, Lynn Swan, and a big crowd at the Metrodome. Maurice Wells checks in to the Ohio State backfield. Troy Smith the throw on 1st down. He wants it all. Airs it long for Ginn. He's out there, and it's incomplete. Tremaine Banks was covering. Talk about jumping right out here and going for the home run.
Well, that's where the plays are. There's single coverage out there. I think Troy Smith expected him to go inside, and he threw it to the inside, and Ginn went to the outside. Single coverage top. I think he thought he was going to go inside of him, but he went outside all the way.
No matter how good a defender you are, and Tremaine's a good one, you know when number 7 comes out there and you're backpedaling and he's running full speed ahead, you got your fingers crossed a little bit.
Offensively, you like the call.
Smith pump fake. Now it's a Statue of Liberty coming back around to Pittman. Broke a tackle. First down and a bunch more. What a run. Antonio Pittman playing as well as we've seen him play all year.
And running through some tackles. Minnesota defensively not doing as well as Ohio State when they have an opportunity to bring a guy down.
He's got to be up 165, 170 yards right now. 159 officially.
Lipka misses. Shevlin misses.
And then Harris got run over. First down, Buckeyes right back in Minnesota territory. At the 37. Out of the gun, keeper by Smith on the option, cuts outside. Draws a crowd, but got a good gain out of it. Got 5. That's what makes him so dangerous. Again, he's not as big as Michael Robinson of Penn State, a team that gave Minnesota some fits. But Swanee, you were talking earlier, it's sort of like Penn State set the blueprint for how to play the Gopher defense.
Oh, and that's absolutely correct. Penn State showed people that if you get up on them early, force them to throw the football, you've got a better chance fast linebackers. But give Minnesota credit. They've adjusted at that. You look at what they did against Michigan when they came out with Brian Cooper throwing the ball and becoming a better passer as a result.
Watch the blitz here. Here they come.
And Pittman trying to run by it, but he can't. Mike Sherrill stays home in the middle and made the stop.
The Buckeyes spread them out. They had single coverage in the secondary, and all the linebackers came up and said, we're blitzing you this time.
Now there's that third down and long situation. At least third down and 6. A long 6 coming up. This one's Minnesota's got to have, because with the leg that Houston's got, they're getting down close to field goal range if they don't pick up 6.
Now this may be 4-down territory.
Could be.
And since Tressel calls the plays, he's guys that makes those decisions.
4 wideouts.
Nobody in the deep middle.
Got to think about Gonzalez again too.
Here they come.
Blitz was coming off the corner, and Smith took a timeout.
You can tell that they're blitzing by looking at the deep middle. When there's nobody back there, that means something's going on.
5-yard penalty.
And they ran out of time.
Down remains 3rd.
Penalty. So now it's 3rd down and 11. I did not see the flag. And now Jim Tressel saying, wait a minute, I don't have to take the timeout, do I?
I don't want the timeout.
Before the clock ran out. No penalty. Timeout, Ohio State.
Okay, it's one or the other.
One or the other.
They got the timeout, no penalty.
Yeah.
Still going to be 3rd down and 6. Minnesota in its 24th year playing here in the Metrodome. We mentioned their last outdoor game was against Ohio State at Memorial Stadium. Back where Robert played.
Yep, played over there. In fact, it's a memorable game because it was, what, 1966. And with this stadium, we won the final game there that clinched us going to the Rose Bowl in 19. And that was the first time Purdue had ever gone to the Rose Bowl.
There's the old Memorial Stadium, and demolished after the '81 season, and then the Metrodome became the home of the Gophers. The Gophers are hoping that someday down the line there is another new outdoor stadium. And of course that's going to be up to the legislature, and they went a whole session and couldn't even get a state budget last year, so I don't know if they're worrying about football stadiums for the Twins or the Vikings or the Gophers if they get a special session called. There's still already a lot of money that's been donated, but some of those have deadlines as to whether or not that money will be forwarded to help build a Gopher Stadium, so it's very much in doubt. The people around here are hopeful. Glenn Mason is obviously one of them.
Yeah.
3rd down. Out of the shotgun. You'll know in a minute whether Ohio State picks up this 1st down by the noise.
Defensive man knocks it down at the line of scrimmage. That's one of the best pass coverages you've got, is a defensive lineman jumping right at the line of scrimmage.
Bob, I was watching pregame warm-up and watching Troy Smith And I noticed that a couple of times he threw some short passes over the middle, extraordinarily low. He's not the biggest quarterback, and this one, he's looking for a seam to throw it in between people. Well, look how low this ball is. You don't even have to jump to get that ball.
Josh Houston has shown his leg with kickoffs today. This is a 50-yard field goal attempt. His best is 47, and I think there's movement on the Ohio State offense. And if so, this might be a punt coming up instead of a field goal attempt.
In fact, Houston is 13 of 16, and the only 3 that he's missed have been from 49.
Prior to the snap, ball start, 63, offense, 5-yard penalty, down remains 4.
That's a killer.
Yep.
Only the 3 field goals he's missed have been from 49 and 2 of them from 50.
Well, the way we've seen him on kickoffs today, he's got the leg to do this. Whether he's got the leg from 55, I don't know.
Well, guys, I asked Tressel about that when I watched him during pregame warm-up, and he said, well, it depends. I wouldn't want to give Minnesota field position, but if it's a last play in the first half and they don't get a chance, he said he could probably go for one that was 50 yards.
Well, Josh is disappointed. Trapasso's into punt, and it changed the whole situation there. He's going to try to aim it, and it comes off the side of his foot, and that's not going to be a very good punt. And Minnesota might have decent field position, even though it was a punt of 17 yards. Now you kind of wish you'd have tried the field goal. Let's take a look at our IBM Star Watch today. Brian Cupido banged up, had a week off after missing the Wisconsin game, came back, told us he's ready to rock and roll, and he was not kidding. 17 out of 23, 314 yards, a career high, and 1 touchdown. Could have been a second one, but Ellerson was brought down at the 1-yard line. So now Bryant's back at the controls, trailing by a touchdown. 3:57 remaining in the third quarter. Here's a toss to Lawrence Maroney. High stepping, flags are down. Twirls his way for about 3, but again a penalty marker at the line of scrimmage. I was wondering that very thing because of where it was thrown. I didn't expect holding, and I thought either a clip or a chop block, and that's the call.
Flipping, 61 offense. Penalties half the distance to the goal from the spot of the foul. Repeat first down.
Greg Esslinger, the All-American center, is the guilty party. And he doesn't frown very often.
Yeah, but
Brian Cupido says he even smiles in the huddle.
He's looking at the official. Here he is here. Watch him as he's going to pull to the left. And he's going to hit the guy right in the back. Let's see, right here is where what they call. Now, it looks to me like the defensive guy is going down in front of him. And that's why the little funny look on Esslinger's face. You called that?
Now 1st and 20. Maroney with Esslinger in front of him looking for a cutback lane, and all he finds is Mike Kudla again. And Maroney has been slowed down a little bit here in the second half. Had a tremendous first half, including a big 53-yard run.
Well, they've got 467 yards of total offense, 153 rushing. And we just showed you that Cupido has got over 300 yards passing.
There's the difference that I was talking about. 6 rushes for 5 yards in the second half. Jakari Wallace makes a catch on 2nd down and a mile, but just gets minimal yardage before Dante Whitner puts him down. And it will bring up a 3rd down and about 15. Down to 2:40 in the third quarter. Ohio State jumped out to a 10-0 lead. Minnesota battled back. We were tied at 17 at halftime. It's been Ohio State's third quarter so far, though Minnesota did score a touchdown the last time they had it, but now they find themselves in a 3rd and long situation. 3 wideouts for Cupido. Going to try to swing it out, see if Maroney can do his thing in the open field, and they're not going to let him. Yabodi, nice open field tackle again. And we said those two have met several times on the field to play today.
Yabodi has been a very active participant in this ball game. Not only with all those tackles, but been a lot of passes that have been completed over him because he's been the guy playing the wide side of the field.
If you see a great Pontiac game-changing performance today, nominate it at ESPN.com. Keyword Pontiac. Pontiac will contribute $5,000 to the Winning Schools Scholarship Fund. Seen some pretty good performances right here in this game. Husek. This could be returnable at the 45. Ted Ginn. Or you hold your breath if you're the opposing team. Every time he touches it, he got 18 yards on the return. It looked like he went about 7 yards, but that's because he goes that fast. So Ohio State's going to have about the best starting point that they've had all day.
Oh,
here.
no question. Best field position for them all day.
At the Minnesota 37-yard line. Roy Smith brings out the Buckeyes offense. First down. High backfield. With Pittman, who's had the big day at the tailback spot. He gets the call. He's got another positive run. Good one down inside the 35 to the 33. We understand, we're getting word today that Notre Dame tore up the contract of head coach Charlie Weiss and have given him a new 10-year deal through 2015.
I guess they like what they've seen so far.
I guess so.
I think some of the pro teams may have come and knocking on the door saying, hey, can we talk to your coach?
Wow. That's nice security, isn't it? The next decade, Charlie on the sidelines. Pittman again, straight up the middle.
That's what a bye week could get for you. A 10-year contract.
A close loss to USC and a bye week, and you're ready to rock and roll. Well, good for Charlie. Congratulations, Coach.
Yeah, he's earned it. He has certainly done a nice job at Notre Dame.
Does that mean because we had a bye week with the postponement of the Georgia Tech Miami football game that
new contract waiting for you, Swanee.
New contract extension, and for all three of us.
We're on 10-day deals, I think, instead of 10-year. Ohio State hasn't picked up a third down in their last 5 tries, but this one's short. Third down, less than a yard.
We'll let the time run out.
Third quarter will come to a close, and we'll switch ends with Ohio State in front heading into the final stanza. So a good third quarter for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Even though Minnesota tried to answer, Pittman had the long run. They lead 31-24. Our presentation of college football will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations. You're watching ABC Sports Championship Television. It's a wide open Big Ten. Ohio State coming to Minneapolis, and while they've been bruised and battered, they're still in front with big plays on both sides of the ball. Minnesota has hung in. Nothing to lose your head about. There's still a run for the final quarter coming up. The Buckeyes and the Gophers. Time to exhale. Fourth quarter set to start 31-24. 14-point third quarter for the Buckeyes. Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, Lynn Swan, and our ABC crew at the Metrodome in Minneapolis. So here we go. 15 left in regulation. Ohio State a touchdown lead. 3rd and 1. Pittman got the first down. Dominic Jones made the stop, but he only needed about 2 feet, and he got about 2 yards. So Ohio State would love to use some clock here a little bit and try to get another score. They score so quickly, they remind you sometimes of Penn State in that things happen in a hurry.
And it's just because of those 2 big play guys on the outside and Gonzalez. I need to throw him in.
Yep.
But Mangold and Sims in that offensive line, whenever they need some short yardage, they're going right over those 2 guys.
Ohio State 3 straight runs. Now they'll pass. Crossing pattern, Gonzalez, who Bob just mentioned, and he's down to the 10-yard line. Yeah, there you go. Both receivers and then that guy in the slot. Let's get an update in New York. Here's John.
Brad, time for the singular All-America Player of the Week update. Tyrone Moss of Miami is going to be a good candidate. 22 carries, 177 yards, and somehow gets in for one of his 3 touchdown runs. Text the word vote to 87654 now on your singular phone for your ballot and a chance to win a trip to the national championship. Brad.
changed in a hurry, didn't
Yeah, they woke him up after halftime.
First and 10, Ohio State on the option. Keeper Troy Smith almost broke it. Dominic Jones saved a touchdown.
It's a little option in reverse. Running back going one way, and Troy Smith with the option to pull it out. Huge gaping hole. Sims 77.
That is very Penn State-like right there.
Yeah.
Michael Robinson loves to run that.
Yep.
Now they're inside the 5. They can get a first down at about the 1-yard line. So it's 2nd down and 3. 3 for the first, and about 4.5 for the touchdown. Pittman, right side. He's in. Touchdown, Ohio State. 4-yard touchdown, Antonio Pittman.
And really, you have to go back to the special teams of Ohio State, because on the exchange of punts, they gained like 15 yards, and this drive started from the Minnesota 37-yard line. Ted Ginn with a nice return, so the special teams doing a big part of that drive for the offense for Ohio State.
We said how amazing it was that Pittman, with all his yards this year, wouldn't have any touchdowns. He's got a long one, and now he's got a short one to his credit. 2 today for Antonio, and 174 yards rushing, which is a career high. He's the man of the hour in Columbus and around the state of Ohio. Not too popular in Minneapolis right now. 38-24 Buckeyes. Ohio State didn't have to go far as we welcome you back to the BCS Spotlight game presented by ADT. 37-yard drive and 6 plays, a little over 3 minutes again. And Antonio Pittman did the honors. Now Minnesota in desperate need of a score on this drive. It just won't be on a kickoff return. Wow, what a weapon to have. And this is a team that lost Mike Nugent, the Groza Award winner, as the best kicker in the country last year, and now they got this kid knocking things out of the end zone.
This kid's a 6th-year senior. He's already graduated. He had a medical red shirt. They redshirted him 1 year, and then this guy looks just as good as Nugent does.
And here's Pittman, who's had a career-high day, and now Brian Cupido knows what's in front of him. He has thrown well today, played very well. Trying to go on a quick count here. Ohio State's not set defensively yet. Get the ball to Maroney. Maroney keeps the legs driving and goes for about 5 out to the 26-yard line. Lynn?
Well, we've been talking about the Tressel family, and I'm with Connie Tressel, the wife of Dick Tressel, who is the running backs coach for Ohio State, and the mother of Luke, who coaches the wide receivers for Minnesota. So who are you rooting for?
Oh, I'm just keeping neutral and taking pictures here on the sidelines. It's too hard. I can't believe it.
Now, you thought this would be okay when you started the ball game. You thought it would be, not too bad. How do you feel?
My stomach is in a knot, and I don't know what I want to happen. So it's great to see both offenses just going crazy, and it's also great. We have such a good defense at Ohio State. It's been an incredible game.
Now, I want you to turn around just a bit, guy, because she's got Ohio State on the front, but on the back, you see she's got Minnesota there. And this is the Tressel family's got kind of a cottage industry in football. Obviously Jim is your brother-in-law, but you've got a son who coaches at Cincinnati and another son who is a high school coach here in St. Paul.
Yes, we have another son who also coached at Hamlin, where my husband was, and one at Cincinnati coaching the linebackers. So we love it. We love the game. We love both schools.
and both husband and son are doing a tremendous job. Thank you very much, Connie.
Thank you.
And she said we love our defense, and their defense just recovered a fumble. Quinn Pitcock with a fumble recovery as Maroney put it on the ground.
Trying to make something happen. That's Sally who causes the fumble. And I'm not sure that Cupido may not have re-injured his shoulder area by going after that fumble recovery.
Boy, that's all Minnesota would need. See the reaction of Glenn Mason. And that was not a hit where the helmet was right on the football or anything.
No.
Kind of a high tackle, and Maroney just lost the handle on it. And those two guys don't fumble much, he or Russell. Wells goes down, actually for a loss. Anthony Montgomery made the stop. He's had a good ball game.
This is the second straight Buckeyes that have started way inside the Minnesota territory,
Yep,
the
they
plus
ended
yard
at
line.
37 last time and the 30 this time.
Minnesota, on the other hand, 10 of their 11 possessions have started within their own 25-yard line. Talk about a good kicker.
It's hard to have to go the length of the field all the time. Second down, 11. Smith from the shotgun keeps it himself. Oh, he got stuck by Mike Sherrills, the linebacker. Don't forget, coming up next, part of our doubleheader on ABC. And most of you will see Purdue and Penn State. Some of you might see Maryland and Florida State in the ACC, Iowa State, Texas A&M in the Big 12. Out west, number 2 USC against Washington State. That sounds funny to say number 2 USC. I'm not used to that yet.
Yeah, that's. I think all that thing did by dropping them down to the BCS number 2 has made them mad. They're going to play a lot better.
Third and long. Smith pumps once. Good coverage. Now he's got a man wide open. Santonio Holmes. Touchdown.
That play was made by the quarterback. He held the ball and then he said, all right, I'm going to run it. And all the defense came up and Santonio Holmes was left alone.
And that might just about start to do it here in Minneapolis in what was a tight and a good ball game.
Well, I'm just wondering if this defense of Ohio State is so good, which they really haven't shown here today, but you know it is, this offense going to be this good the next week and next week?
Good question. Extra point, a line drive, but it's up and good. So for the second time today, number 4 finds the end zone. Smith, a nice job. The lob with a touch. The Holmes with a touchdown. College football on ABC Sports brought to you by Chrysler. Inspiration comes standard. Polaroid. Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper, one taste and you get it. And Pacific Life. For insurance, annuities, and investments, choose Pacific Life, the power to help you succeed. There's a boat the Vikings should have been on a couple of weeks ago. Instead of the one they were. Good old grain barge would have been a good idea.
Grain barge. Yeah, with some good old guys for bartenders.
Well, another kick out of the back of the end zone. Perfect for Mr. Houston today. Kicks it halfway to Houston every time he tees it up. Santonio Holmes, 2 touchdown catches. Troy Smith, a nice adjustment there. He pump faked and there was coverage where he wanted to go, and then Holmes just snuck out the back door there and got another touchdown.
Got all 22. Let's go ahead and roll it. We tried to throw it up the top. Then he starts scrambling and out, and look what happens. All these guys come up, but Santonio goes the other way all by himself. So that just shows you when a quarterback has the ability to scramble, what it can help release the receiver.
Russell in a tailback on the swing pass, gets it out near the 25-yard line. Malcolm Jenkins made the stop. Santonio, nice day. 2 touchdown catches and almost 100 yards.
Got started early and showed up late.
He's had 2 or more receptions now in 25, I think in 26 consecutive games. And again, those 3 receivers, when you throw Gonzalez in the mix, are pretty dangerous. Here's Russell again. About 3, and it's going to bring up 3rd down and 2. Time permitting. Stay tuned for the Thrifty Car Rental post-game report. John and Craig and Aaron will have all the scores and highlights from across the country. Well, it didn't start that kind of day for the Gopher fans, at least not after the first quarter. This was a pretty loud place, and now you can see what's setting in. They've had a lot of seasons where they've started strong and then faded a little bit. I don't know that I'd call this a fade against the 13th ranked team in the country, as they're trying to play them head up. But now they find themselves in a big hole that's going to be hard to dig out of. 45-24. So Ohio State's losses to Penn State and Texas, which are 2 pretty good teams. So that you start to wonder, how good is Ohio State? They had 18 returning starters from an 8-4 squad. Last year they kind of put things together at the end. They won 5 of their last 6. So coming into this season, the hopes around Columbus were high. And of course they had a big game with Texas early. And that's a tough team to play that early in the season. Cupido. Throwing down the sideline, trying to get it over to Wheelwright, and it's out of bounds.
That's a smart play by a quarterback. I mean, just when the play starts, you've got this play in mind and you want to complete it to this receiver, that receiver, or whatever. And then you drop back and pass. A lot of quarterbacks can't get that all right, I'm aborting this play. I'll tell you about it later, coach, but I'm going to throw this ball out of bounds. To get a quarterback to throw that ball away like that is a big step.
Bryant again, swing pass to Russell with a blocker in front of him. Ooh, boy, there's a wicked collision at the 35-yard line. Yabodi and Schlegel combine on the stop. Let's get an update from Oklahoma, Nebraska. Here's John.
Brad, it looked like Oklahoma was going to roll over Nebraska, but the Cornhuskers have come fighting back. Zach Taylor waits for Nate Swift and gets him 25 yards to the end zone. And right now, Nebraska is pulled within a touchdown, and they have the momentum. Defense playing very well right now. Brad, back to you.
One of the great matchups going way back. This team's not with as good a records this year, but it's still Oklahoma and Nebraska. Flags down on the play is a little pass over the middle from Cupido to Russell's completes. And it's going to be a holding call on the Gophers.
Well, Bob and Brad, the Ohio State defense may have given up a lot of yards, but one of the things they've been able to do throughout this ball game is keep that defensive line fresh. They've got 8 guys that they can roll in there, and Carpenter you see right there as we listen to the call.
Offense, 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat third down.
And you've got guys like Carpenter when you get down to different situations who can put his hand on the ground and play. And this offensive line, no matter how good they are at Minnesota, is getting worn down a bit. I've been watching the last couple of plays. There's not a single guy in this offensive line from Minnesota that's not limping and feeling the pains of a Big Ten season.
Yeah. Remember, they're coming off an off week a week ago. Cupido, here comes the pressure from Kudla. He lofts it in the middle for Jakari Wallace, and it's incomplete. And Cupido paid the price after the throw. Mike Kudla's had a good ball game too.
Well, he has, and you know, you talk about defense winning championships, and you're looking at the Big Ten. Who's got the best defense in the Big Ten? And it's Ohio State. They're number 3 in the nation, and by far the best defense. I think Penn State's about 9th or 10th, but you start looking at defense, it should be Penn State and Ohio State down to the wire.
We've talked so much about the 3 linebackers here and how good they are, and then Puslesny and his group in Penn State, and Greenway and Hodge and those kids down at Iowa. Boy, some good linebackers in the Big Ten this year. Nice kick. Ginn way back to the 22-yard line, and here he comes the other way. Ted Ginn, about 23 yards on the return. A deep punt, but he made him pay with a great return, and again, good field position. So Ginn has done his thing today as a punt returner and a kickoff return man. His counterpart, number 4, Santonio Holmes, has done his as well. 2 touchdowns today for the Buckeyes. With Bob Greasy and Lynn Swan and our ABC crew, Brad Nessler back at the Metrodome in Minneapolis. 8 minutes remaining in the ball game, and Ohio State in command now at 45-24. Wasn't that way most of the day for most of 3 quarters. A tight Big Ten ball game, but now the Buckeyes have control, and they'll just try to use clock. And with Pittman the way he's playing, they might be able to do that. So Antonio Pittman came in not as heralded as the guy that was wearing maroon and gold, Lawrence Maroney, but he's got 182 yards and 2 touchdowns today.
And, you know, he has to share the spotlight because Troy Smith, the quarterback, has done a lot of good things throwing the football.
There's the numbers on the day, and closing in on 900 for the season. So with a pretty good chunk of season left, appears that he'll be the first 1,000-yard rusher for Ohio State since Maurice Clarett. And he's got a first down run. The Big Ten, I mentioned, wide open. Of course, Wisconsin and Penn State have lost only once. And there's what they have coming up. Purdue and Wisconsin and Michigan State for Penn State. Wisconsin beating Illinois the last time we heard. That it's 34-17 right now. Penn State, Iowa, and at Hawaii. Ohio State's got Illinois, Northwestern, and then the big one at Michigan. And Northwestern, of course, Michigan tonight on ESPN. Iowa at Ohio State at Illinois. So Northwestern's got a tough finish, especially 3 of the last 4.
Yeah, probably the toughest schedule of all the contenders with 1 loss. Now, if everybody gets beat, there has been 4 times in the last 25 years where two losses have either tied or won the championship in the Big Ten. And the last time it happened was, I think, in 1992, when 4 teams tied for the
co-championship.
Title. Yeah.
Well, the clock winding down under 6.5 and a second down at 5. Ohio State taking its time, moving down the field. Minnesota's defense has been out there a lot in the last 20 minutes. Wells. The only thing Minnesota can hope for is a big turnover, some kind of big play here to stop the momentum of Ohio State's. Otherwise, the Buckeyes are going to go to 6-2. They'll be 4-1. Last week over Indiana was their highest point total of the year, 41-10, and they have bested that today, 45 already.
Well, you know, talking to Jim Tressel, he said this offense started slow because of the problems with the quarterbacks early in the year. The suspension of Troy Smith didn't start until the second game, got his feet. Now it looks like he's rolling along pretty good.
Sure does. Wells dropped after a very short game. Let's get an update from John in New York. John, what do you got?
I got more of Tyrone Moss. He has just been outstanding today for Miami. 15 yards on this run, 195 yards, and 4 touchdowns for Tyrone Moss as Miami is pulling away from North Carolina, 34-16. Brad.
So
I wonder if it was something Larry Coker said at halftime.
It could have been. So Moss and Pittman today so far, from what we've seen, are 2 of the big stars.
Going for it here on 4th down.
4th and 2. Troy Smith keeps it himself, and he got the first down on 2nd and 3rd effort. He was hitting the backfield, stood up, looked like they were going to stop him at least a yard shy, and he bounces off and gets a first down.
A lot of one back for the Buckeyes. Just finds his way in there. If you weren't with us earlier, Ryan Hamby, the starting tight end, didn't make the trip. Schnitker didn't make the trip, both because of injuries. Ryan Nickel, the other tight end, has been out and may redshirt this year. So they're missing a lot of guys offensively, including Kirk Barton, their starting right tackle.
And Marcel Frost went off not looking too good about a play ago. They're down with a short list on the fullback and tight end side of things.
They get a lot of players in the state of Ohio to ship up there to, you know, Ohio is probably one of the best states for recruiting. You know, Florida is good, California is good.
This is something you don't see happen very often. Right in the middle of a drive, Troy, your day is done. Troy Smith goes out, gets a pat on the backside with a big cut on his chin from Coach Tressel. Todd Beckman in to take his spots. Wells is dropped for a loss. Willie Vandesteeg made the tackle for Minnesota. So Minnesota will be dropping to 5-3, 2-3 in the conference, so they'll be out of things. As far as the conference race, they were hanging on by a fingernail coming into this one today, hoping to beat Ohio State. Todd's a big fella, 6'5", 235, freshman.
Yeah, now, he's a redshirt freshman, so he's not burning a year. I guess he's just trying to give him some playing time. Justin Zwick is normally the backup quarterback.
And a draw play to Wells, and it will be 4th down upcoming as we go under 3 minutes remaining in the ballgame. Good ball game, Troy. You played well, young man. Both as a runner and a thrower. Purdue and Penn State for most of you coming up in our second half of the doubleheader. Florida State plays Maryland. A&M kind of getting their game back together against Iowa State. And it's USC and the Cougs. They'll get together in California. Troy Smith today, 14 out of 20, 233 yards and 3 touchdowns. And that's just a little bit under his career high of passing yardage, which he had against Michigan State. And he also had 3 touchdown passes in that one. And we got a timeout with 2:17 remaining in the ball game. We'll take a timeout as well. Come back in Minneapolis for the final couple minutes in a moment. Bob, let's take a look at our Dodge defensive playbook. You love defense. Go ahead.
I love the defense, and especially against the option. This is going to be an option to our left, but watch Kudla, number 57, the defensive end, how he plays this. First you look at the quarterback. All right, I got to stop the quarterback, force the pitch. Now Kudla forces the pitch. Now watch this. This is a defensive end. Watch him run straight down the line. Not toward the back, straight down the line, and eventually he runs out of room. The back does. That's just a good defensive play by a good defensive end.
Ohio State
46 and 33.
Trapasso hasn't been very busy kicker today. Boy, hit this one a mile in the air, and they might be able to down it. Nope.
That's good.
Oh, did he?
That's good. In college, you can be in the end zone and knock it out as long as the ball doesn't get in the end zone.
And they're going to call touchback.
Oh, it must have been in the end zone. No, the ball must have been in the end zone.
I think it was. I think he was standing in the end zone and the ball was pretty close as well.
No, him being in the end zone doesn't matter.
At any rate, Minnesota will take over at the 20. Ohio State 233 passing yards today and 215 rushing. And that's the way they've kind of been all season long. At least last week against Indiana, they did very much the same thing. Great balance. And there you see it, 215 and 233. And that's a nice, almost 50-50 combination. Speaking of 50, Cindy Troyer is 50. Cindy's the mom of our lovely PA, Michelle Warple. Doesn't get the chance to be with her mom today. So, Cindy, happy birthday. You don't look a day over 48.
Happy birthday, Cindy.
She looks good for 50.
She really does. We need to help her straighten out her daughter.
That's true. That's a whole other story. 1st and 10. Cupido wheelwrights. Tough catch. Still on his feet. Running wheelwright into Ohio State territory down to the 44-yard line. 26-yard pickup as we take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. Was tied at 17 at halftime. Then Antonio Pittman, his first touchdown of the year. He did it with a splash, that's for sure. 67 yards up the middle. He added another one from 4 yards out later. And wrapped that around another San Antonio Holmes touchdown catch by the Buckeyes. And that's why we're where we're at, 45-24. Ohio State just 90 seconds now away from their 6th win of the year. Lawrence Maroney for Minnesota had a sensational first half. 128 yards rushing for the game, but he only had 14 in the second half, including a fumble. So his star was shining brightly in the first 2 quarters, and then it faded badly in the Metrodome shade here.
Ohio State defensively has a way of doing that, playing better as the game goes along.
3rd down and a yard. 124 remaining. Cupido gives it to Russell, and Barry Russell's got a first down inside the 25. Not the only thing that can happen here is a really quick score and a successful onside kick, and then you start hoping for some sort of miracle.
And we have a bunch of the backup second-string defensive players for Ohio State in the ballgame.
Getting a little bit of work.
The starters never want you to give up yardage or points on the defense.
A.J. Hawk and Schlegel there. James Laurinaitis, a true freshman, will be one of the linebackers that will be taken over in that crew next year, and he's from right here. Went to Wyzetta, his mom and dad, and you saw Ohio State girlfriend a little while ago. There he is. Mr. Football in the state of Minnesota last year, and one of the great high school hockey players in this state. Jim, a freshman, 6'3", 231. There's his girlfriend. And we met His dad, Joe, of course, part of the Legion of Doom, animal of the Road Warriors in professional wrestling. And we spent some time with Joe and his mom, Julie, last night. And I said, 231. She said, he weighs at least 245. She ought to know. She's had to feed him for 18, 19 years. But that was a big loss for Minnesota, as Glenn Mason really wanted him to play football here. And now he will, I think, pretty much without a doubt, be one of the starting linebackers next year when that trio goes off to the next level.
Well, he'll have some big shoes to fill.
Yes, he will. Awfully big. Carpenter, Schlegel, and Hawk, all seniors. Cupido, swing pass out to Payne. And he gets down to the 11-yard line. That's going to be another first down. And the guy we just talked about, Jim Laurinaitis, makes it stop. He says, you know, a lot of guys have dads that are doctors and lawyers and everything. And I'm more popular in Columbus than anybody else because my dad's a pro wrestler. Here he is, number 33. And he makes the play. In the corner. Oh, what a hit. And what a catch. Rucker held on to it just inches short of the goal line.
Have you realized that we have not had a replay or one of these plays looked at? I mean, they do get looked at, but we have not had a stoppage, I should say. Is his foot in bounds?
Look at the catch.
Can't tell.
I think that's a pretty good call, but it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
It was right on the line. Minnesota trying to score quickly. Russell does. Touchdown Gophers. 45 to probably 31. And we got an onside kick, I'm sure, that's coming up shortly. So Minnesota shows that they're not going to quit.
And I don't think Jim Tressel should take any heat for allowing some of his second-string players to be in the ball game.
If you can't play in a situation like this, you're never going to get around to getting any time. Giannini in for the point after. And it's up and good. So you might not want to go anywhere just in case the onside kick is successful. Still 53 seconds left, and Minnesota has a couple of timeouts.
Let me say this. I think if the onside kick is successful, you'll see the first-team defense back in there.
That's probably true. Well, the Gophers have shown up well. They were hoping for better things today, and barring a miracle, I don't think they're going to win the ball game, but they played very well against the number 13 team in the country. It just was not to be for the first time since 1940 to be able to beat Michigan and Ohio State in the same season.
Well, this would be Minnesota's third loss and would keep Ohio State at one loss, so it would keep them on track
to try to stay with Penn State or Wisconsin.
Yes, sir.
So now the good hands team will come up here, including Ginn and Holmes and Gonzalez, three wide receivers, all over here kind of in front of us on the near sideline. Giannini, if he kicks it this way, will be kicking at the top three receivers for Ohio State. And here it comes. Got a high bounce. Ginn fields it beautifully. And Ohio State's got the ball, and they'll have the victory here shortly. Today's Chevrolet players of the game. And what a game by Antonio Pittman, a career high. 2 touchdown runs, his first 2 of the year, 186 yards on the ground. Brian Cupido, I'll tell you what, Brian, despite the fact you missed the last game and you've had both shoulders banged up, you played very well. Almost 400 yards, a career high, including a touchdown toss today. In recognition of their efforts, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. Well, I don't know that we expected the shootout we got, Bob, but good ball game today in Minneapolis.
It was a good ball game. And Ohio State, I think if this offense continues to play as they have in the last couple of weeks, they could be very dangerous down the road. They are dangerous now because they've got the defense, they've got the special teams. Their kickers are good. The punter is good. The field goal kicker is good. He kicks them into the end zone when they kick off. I mean, that's a huge advantage.
The field position today was all Ohio State's, and that helps guys like the quarterback there.
And the thing they didn't do today offensively is turn the ball over.
Right. And Minnesota did a good job with the exception of Maroney's fumble. And then, of course, Ginn's kickoff return for a score. That's the game changer. And might end up being the difference in the ball game, because everything else was pretty close on both sides. Ohio State will take a knee, And they will have their 6th win in 8 outings. And they'll have their 9th straight win over the Minnesota Gophers. But they had their hands full at the Metrodome today. Jim Tressel will come over to meet Glenn Mason. And his team will stay in the hunt in the Big Ten. Minnesota will fall out of the hunt. Ohio State goes to 6-2, 4-1 in conference play. Minnesota will drop to 5-3 and 2-3 in the Big Ten. A lot of offense, a lot of fireworks at the Metrodome. Ohio State wins it 45-31 is the final. ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com. As Swanee congratulates Coach Tressel. Ohio State now with an opportunity to stay in the Big Ten picture, and we'll see if they can in weeks to come. Don't forget another big one coming up. Penn State and Purdue, part of our doubleheader. ABC Sports online at ESPN.com. Search ABC Sports. I mentioned a doubleheader coming up. The other games you'll see right there on the screen. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. For Bob Greasy and Lynn Swan, Brad Nessler saying so long from Minneapolis. Once again, the final score, Ohio State 45, Minnesota 31. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports Championship Television. So long.